Bom Dia. We are back in the friendly confines of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil for the first time in a long time. Championship doubleheader beckons live on pay-per-view Saturday night. A whole lot to get to, though, before we get to that noise. It is UFC 283, Teixeira versus Hill. And we are coming to you live from Rio today for the official weigh-in show. Good news to report on that front. Main and co-main event fighters are all reportedly on weight, some of them making their way to that very room at the host hotel. We are here at Giunessi Arena. Great to have you with us for the official UFC 283 weigh-in show. Laura Sanko is here. Paul Felder is back. Former two-division champion, Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier. You're not the champ. Dan Helly's the champ.
Well, so I am wearing the belt because I feel as though I'm the most deserving of the belt, being that I've won the belt more times than not. So it goes to anyone.
Have we actually?
Do you ever remember, like, even my career, I would lose belts and they would always come back to me. So it's like, let's just keep it going in that direction, right? So here we go.
I appreciate your New Year's resolution, though, because this needs to change this year. It needs
You
to
guys
change.
think I cheat?
Stop cheating. It's the theme of the show from day one.
I mean, he doesn't cheat on the golf course anymore, but there was a time where I actually saw him look to his left, look to his right, and throw his golf ball on the green. It happened, you know? So.
Hey, John, what about the time where I was in the sand? I grabbed the ball, threw it, picked up a hand of sand, and threw the sand.
Yeah,
it takes commitment to go that far.
Not afraid to push down on a towel either. All right, we got a lot to get to today. Thank you guys for having me. Dan Helly, of course, is not here. I'm filling in for him. He is the champ, but that means the belt that is on DC's lap is vacant. RJ Clifford is in the building, and I understand that that he's going to come spin this wheel in a little bit.
Look,
wearing your television blacks. Good to see you.
Always like to blend in. Black for evening wear, even though it's ass crack of dawn. All right, you guys know the drill. Boom, boom, boom. We got a couple Brazilian-themed ones, a couple classics. We'll see what we end up with. So fun.
It ends up being a shocker again, I swear.
Mute mic. So you got to mute my mic for a few minutes. So that's an easy one.
RJ,
Easy peasy.
get off the stage, mute, your mic's muted.
It's amazing they still let him rock that Raiders hat, huh?
Oh, dude,
Unbelievable.
that's why he's in all black, right? The funeral for their season. Just a disaster.
All right, so the weigh-in is going to happen here momentarily, but let us show you all that is coming your way Saturday night at UFC 283. 15 fights on the card, top to bottom. It is held together at least to this point. Featured early prelim in the heavyweight division, Shamil Abdurakhimov and Jailton Almeida booked for a third time. We'll see if that one holds. These are the late prelims. You can see these on ABC, ESPN, and also ESPN+. Among the notables, Gabriel Bonfim, one of two brothers making their debuts at UFC 283. Gregory Rodriguez taking on Bruno Ferreira, who's one of 6 UFC newcomers who will make his debut at UFC 283. And here's your pay-per-view main card. Couple of title fights. Gilbert Burns back in Rio. And the main card opener, Paul Craig against Johnny Walker in the UFC's light heavyweight division. But let us get into this main event. Of course, Jamal Hill and Glover Teixeira for the vacant UFC light heavyweight title. Last pay-per-view, the title was vacant. We said the no vacancy sign would not be out at night's end. Here we go again.
Yeah, well, you watched the last fight, and you knew that something would have to happen in order to find and have some clarity in the light heavyweight division. So you end up with Glover Teixeira and Jamal Hill. And so many people were mad at Glover for turning down the Ankalaev fight, right? Well, obviously, it worked out for him. But when you look at these two and how they match up, you got a young guy in Jamal Hill who many believe it's a step too soon. 1 fight, maybe 2 fights. And for Glover Teixeira, is it right now or never? So the stakes are extremely high for these two. But Jamal Hill is as calm as I've ever seen a first-time title challenger in my entire career. And Glover Teixeira, it's like another day at the park, right? This is where he's lived the entirety of his UFC career.
Yeah, and I think for Glover, it made sense to not take that fight when it was presented to him. And he might have to face him anyway, right?
Yeah.
If he gets the belt back, then he's going to have to face all these guys. He just wanted to have a bit more of a training camp. A completely different opponent was put in front of him. And at his age, John, I can't blame him for wanting to sit and wait.
Could you imagine, though, like Jamal Hill or Magomed Ankalaev on short notice? Like, you're taking a Jamal Hill fight every day of the week, right?
Well, 100%. But I mean, if you look at Jamal Hill, and I know you've been around him this week, DC, he is oozing confidence. I mean, he's not blinking one moment about this situation. I think he realizes what's at stake for him in particular. We could have our very first Contender Series champion by the end of Saturday, which would be pretty cool. But I just really get the sense that he's not shaken by this moment whatsoever. And I don't know, watching him warm up last night or work out last night, impressed with what I saw.
A lot of us excited to see what Jamal Hill can do with the opportunity. That is the main event, co-main event, fourth meeting, Paulie, between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Interesting for Moreno, he hasn't had 4 straight. For Figueiredo, 4 consecutive training camps for Brandon.
Yeah, you know, both these guys, you got to imagine they are just absolutely sick of looking across at each other across the octagon. But that being said, when we talk to these guys, both guys want to go out and they want to finish the other eye because it's so important to put a freaking stamp on this now, to be like, I'm done, let's move on, let's bring in some new contenders so I don't have to look at this guy's face, especially for Moreno, because you can tell Figueiredo gets under his skin a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You talked about how the last matchup, he may have gotten a little bit too emotional and let that bother him in his performance. And this time he's going to be much more calculated, but he's got a whole other set of circumstances. Saif Saud working with him this time. So we'll see how it matches up. And same with Figueiredo. Didn't decide to go back to the States for this one. Stayed in Brazil. So both camps a little different from the last meeting.
Yep.
You know, fighting the same guy multiple times sucks. I fought 3 guys 7 times. To fight one guy 4 times is absurd. It's like a nightmare, especially when you have proven to be so equal.
Groundhog
These two have
Day.
been, they've been so equal in regards to how they compete against each other. But you are looking at the 2 best flyweights in the world, because when you put them in there with anyone else, they really do kind of walk through them. We haven't seen Deiveson Figueiredo with anyone else since we saw him fight Munoz at the Apex before he started this Brandon Moreno chapter. Then we saw him fight Joe Benavidez, finish him. We saw Brandon Moreno get a finish on the same night as the champions, then in the fight against Carl Frank gets the finish. So they are proving that they're the 2 best. That's why we keep circling back to this same exact matchup. We're all just as excited about it as we were the first time.
We all want to know the truth, right? And the thing about a trilogy is that you can dial down. It's not just who's the better guy on any given night, which is what happens in MMA a lot. Now you've got who is the better guy over the test of time, and not just 3 fights, 4 fights now.
Could I ask you that? Could I ask, like, this is a question that has been popping up in my head this whole week, right? 4th fight. But was the first fight a bit of we kind of like not put too much into it, being that they fought 3 weeks after they had just fought, being that it was a draw, being that Brandon Moreno literally was not considered a threat at all going into that fight. So the true test of these fights are what we saw in fight 2, in fight 3, because we saw them, Brandon at his absolute best in the second fight, and we saw Deiveson Figueiredo make the necessary changes. So it feels like to me, like even though we're in fight number 4, this is like the completion of a trilogy, because that first fight, we thought Brandon Moreno had no chance against Deiveson Figueiredo.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And if you do remember the circumstances that DC is alluding to, both Brandon Moreno and Deiveson Figueiredo had competed 3 weeks prior, and then they were added to that fight card to compete.
But how that played out so informed the second fight, right?
Well,
because it was
Deiveson
like
won,
a continuation
right?
of Brandon's
won.
confidence.
Deiveson won. He lost a point.
Exactly.
That's how he saved the draw, right? So, like, and if he wouldn't have, we would probably just moved on.
But it's like Brandon all of a sudden believed that he belonged there. He could compete, and not only compete, I think he was like, man, I can beat this guy, and then he went and did it.
Paul, you're drinking that natural coconut water here in Brazil. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good.
It is delicious.
Refreshing.
That's your breakfast.
It's refreshing. It's gonna make him sick, though.
I've been
He's
swimming
afraid to drink out of a
in the
coconut.
ocean every day. If I haven't gotten sick from doing that yet, I think I'll be all right with this coconut.
I want to get into this feature bout in the UFC's welterweight division. Gilbert Durinho Burns needed a fight, hasn't fought since the Hamzat Chimaev fight last April. He is prohibitively favored now against Neil Magny.
He is, but I mean, listen, Neil Magny, as we all know, is one of the most decorated, long-standing guys in that entire division. You cannot sleep on a guy like Neil Magny, who is good everywhere. And let's not forget that he is going to have some massive physiological advantages in this fight. He is so tall, he is so long, and he uses that length really well, fights behind the jab, he can wrestle, he can do it all. This is an opportunity for him to go out and steal some spotlight. This is a risky fight for Gilbert, to be honest with you.
I agree with you there, that this is way more risky for Gilbert Burns than it is for Neil Magny. This is a massive opportunity for Neil Magny to go right back out there and prove that not only is he a staple in the welterweight division and has the most wins and all of these records, but somebody that is still out there to try to compete, to be at the best in the top of the division and fight for the title. We're talking about Durinho, who's been there. He's fought for the belt. He fell short, didn't work his way, but he's clearly one of the best, most explosive, dangerous guys in the division. If Neil can go out there, no matter how he gets it done and goes and gets a W, we're all going to sit here like we have many times before with Neil and go, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This dude is always shows up better than we think.
His stock doesn't go down.
No.
Who?
Right?
These odds say he's going to get wiped out, and Neil Magny doesn't get wiped out. all the way back to Lorenz Larkin was the only time that I felt he was outclassed.
Yeah.
He'll be much more in this fight than these odds say it will.
And I got to say, Christian Allen is a genius, doesn't get the credit he deserves, and they love this matchup. They love the 9-inch reach advantage, right? I mean, DC, you know about navigating that, right?
It's horrible.
It's going to be interesting. All right. That is a live shot at the scale. We can tell you that Brandon Moreno, Davison Figueiredo, and the flyweight backup, Alexandre Pantoja, have all made their way downstairs. They will be the first 3 athletes to weigh in today. Certainly a good sign for Davison and DC in our fighter meeting. Laura, I know you weren't there, but dude, Davison, just his energy, his demeanor, just totally different.
Yeah, he's a different guy. Like, he's got it all under control. The guy is in shape. He's fit. He is just much better all around in regards to everything, from his businesses to his family to his approach, everything.
All right, Andre Azevedo starting the weigh-in for us. Oh, to be bilingual. If I was bilingual, I'd be down there, you know?
I don't know how Andre Azevedo got first of all. Those guys are in the building to weigh in. That's Brandon Moreno.
Yeah.
Who's Andre Azevedo?
No, the guy that's down there.
Oh,
hosting.
I was about to say,
He's John
what?
Anik today.
I was like, how did he get first?
He's not on the card, DC.
DC's like, I prepped 30 fighters. I did not prep
Andre
Azevedo.
Azevedo.
And Brandon Moreno obviously looking fantastic. Excited to get in there. This guy going into his 4th fight with Davison Figueiredo. It wants to finish, man. He wants to end this chapter of his flyweight career.
great.
Yeah.
He looks
He
great,
looks
man.
great.
He
He
does.
does
He
not
doesn't
look
look
that
sucked
drawn
out at
out.
all.
Yeah, he does not look that drawn out.
Said he was
That's-
eating acai. And
And dude, I saw him. I forget, maybe Paris. Was he in Paris as a guest fighter? He's big for a flyweight. He's much bigger than I really thought he was. Big, strong kid.
Who's that again? Wow.
Oh, this is definitely some
Oh,
theater.
it's go.
Oh, my goodness.
All
The
right,
post that Davison Figueiredo made the other day on social media, I mean, his veins had veins,
Oh.
had veins. It was
He's
absolutely insane.
Davison
This has been a
Duke
struggle
together.
for him in the past, but he seems to be pretty confident and happy.
It's crazy because when he went to the octagon,
125 pounds,
125 even.
That's as good as he's ever
yeah,
looked down
as
the
good as
scale.
he's ever looked down. And also, when he went to the octagon in Dallas, he was massive. And everybody questioned, can this guy make 25? But he seems to have gotten it under control. He used to get carried
Yeah.
to the scale to make the weight. Now, dude's laughing, smiling. I'm excited.
And that means our UFC flyweight championship fight is now official. Alexandre Pantoja will weigh in for emergent situations.
Yes. That he gets money. I don't know how much that is, but also you got to remember, there are a lot of times where fight day, guys are pulling out a fight and getting sick, or so. I know there's not much hope, but there's still hope that Pantoja gets an opportunity.
And I will say Davison Figueiredo did say in our fighter meeting he wants to go up to bantamweight eventually. Like, that is an eventuality, but flyweight
The
is
old boy.
working. And look at the age.
The old dog looks good,
Yes.
huh? I mean, the old dog is in some good shape, huh? Look at him. Teixeira at 43. Dude said that he used to have massive weight cuts. He said he's got it all under control now. He said one time he came here to fight and he weighed 235.
Oh my gosh.
205 for Glover Teixeira. He said he weighed 235 on the Sunday of fight week. Barely was able to make the weight, and he said he has got everything under control now, and he looks phenomenal.
Na categoria dos meio-médios, recebam Gabriel Bonfim.
Gabriel Bonfim about to weigh in. for the
Oh my
first time.
gosh. I am so excited for this UFC debut because I remember, DC, you and I called this fight in Contender Series. The Bonfim brothers, both of them, extremely impressive, but Gabriel in particular got that round one sneaky Von Flue choke. I mean, this guy.
Never even went to full side control on that.
I
He's,
know,
like,
it was
still
it
in
was
half guard
it
with
was
that.
crazy.
Strong.
Undefeated at 13-0, 100%.
171 pounds for Bonfim.
171 for
171 libras.
Bonfim.
Looks good.
100% finish rate, 10 submission wins. This guy is a real deal problem coming off
Nobody
the
looks like
Contender
they're
Series.
like super sucked out because it's so damn hot here.
You just go for a
You
walk
just
on
go
the
for a
beach.
walk and you're fine. Like, nobody looks like
He
they're
was kind
dying.
of
on
throwing
the
that
scale.
blue steel on those scales there.
Yes, and we did talk to both these brothers, and I asked them who's more cranky
Yeah.
on the weight cut situation, and Ishmael was very willing to raise his hand, and Gabriel was also like, yeah, it's my brother.
Bantamweight division,
Much
Cody
crankier.
Stamann.
You got Cody Stamann here, and in the last fight against Eddie Wineland, he was much more aggressive, and he got the finish early. Cody can be a bit slow at times because he's a wrestler, he has to grind you out. I wonder if this is a new approach for Cody Stamann, or was it where Wineland is in his career? Because if this guy can put it all together, he is so talented, man. He is honestly, he reminds me of a Chad Mendez, a
135.5 pounds for Stamann.
135 and a half for Stamann.
That's a good
A
comparison.
Michael Chandler, like those types of explosive
Compact,
wrestlers
muscular.
that if he can develop that knockout power like he showed in the last fight, he could be a real problem.
100%.
He
Great
also
wrestling.
was a little bit surprised that they offered him a UFC newcomer in Brazil. He's got the blue corner, so
Hey,
Damon, I mean,
but
he's
come-
always got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Come in with the chip on your shoulder. That's fine. Come,
He likes
come
that. He
in
likes to
pissed
carry
off.
it. Like you said, John, he loves to carry that chip.
All right, so now with much fanfare, ladies and gentlemen, Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill
Jamal Hill,
weighing in.
pelo cinturão peso vago
as a title
na
challenger for the
categoria dos
first time.
meio pesados.
I think what's most impressive is that Jamal Hill actually beat me at Madden last night. The guy was, dude, like, we talk about how calm he is. Seriously, he was in my room last night playing video games. He's at ease. He's comfortable.
204.5 pounds for
Barely
Jamal
cut
Hill.
any weight to make the weight.
The
Went
first
down
time he's had a
maybe.
dietitian, I think.
Yeah, it has. And you know, they
Shout
told
out
me
to
last
Chef
night.
Larios.
They told me last night after his weight cut, he got emotional. Like, man, I'm about to be a world champion.
Wow.
Like, this kid is. He's
Yeah,
very
you saw
happy.
Brian
to be in this
Butler's
moment.
post, them all kind
Yeah.
of sharing a moment together. It was pretty cool to see.
Oh, first one.
Warley Alves, Brazilian staple, featured on a lot of these big cards here over the years. Had a big win over Colby Covington back in the day. Looks like he's going to employ that little fox.
J.A., you know, Warley Alves to me is the story of what could be still, because he's always been, what can this guy be? You get wins over guys like Colby Covington, and then you have times where you go into the octagon and you seem like you get so dang tired you can barely stand. But he's been so explosive in finishing fights early, I wonder if he can continue that, because he will be pressed. And he will, tomorrow night, he has an opponent in front of him that's going to make him fight a little bit longer.
171 pounds for Warley.
171 for Warley.
171 libras.
He had lost a couple. Last fight, he went right back to his finishing ways early. Let's see if he can continue that. But the problem with that is, like, you do it so much, you never develop that ability to fight a long fight, and that's what really has been his crutch.
We talked to Terrence McKinney a little bit about that as well. And I think Warley Alves, in some respects, I was here for his UFC debut, victim of expectation, too, right?
Yeah,
like,
well,
from
because
the
you
moment
look at
he
him.
arrived. Yeah,
But you
yeah,
look at him,
yeah.
right? And you look at him do those things like submitting Colby Covington, and you go, man, this dude right here should be so much further along in the journey. And I'm
like
not
that.
trying to be harsh, I'm just, it's like, you're right, expectation.
He's got all the talent necessary.
Próximo na
Yeah.
balança,
I like that
categoria
look,
dos
bald
leves,
with the beard.
Thiago Moisés. Lightweight.
I'm Thiago Moises, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, and tomorrow I'm gonna show you DC, how good Brazilian wrestling is, and we're gonna get some picanha after.
He was very vocal about that in the fighter meeting, that he was going to take him down, make him grapple with him, and just really overwhelm his opponent. These guys are tremendous grappler. But the reality is, we have seen
155.5 pounds for Thiago
looks good,
Moisés.
too.
he looks great. We have seen him develop really good stand-up, and talk about level of competition. He has seen it. He's been in there with the very best in the
Beneil,
world.
Islam.
Yeah. He's fought them all. So this kid coming in here riding that wave does not intimidate Moises at all.
Próxima
Is
pesada,
this Lauren?
Yeah, that's me.
Lauren Murphy.
Lucky Lauren Murphy. We will not call her Barb or any other name, but Lauren Murphy
Bro, you
making
remember
her
when I
way to
did
the
that?
stage and doing so, DC.
She could have killed
After
for
Barb.
everybody wanted to kill me after I called him by the wrong name. But dude, that's what happened. Eddie called it that, and then I said it in the interview.
You just doubled down.
Dana was so mad at me. But
Was he?
listen, oh my God.
125.5 pounds.
125 for Lauren.
125.5
But here's the deal.
libras.
What Lauren has done truly is to be commended, because nobody had much expectation for her when she came off of the show. She has fought for the UFC championship, and then in her last fight, she's never looked better. She actually is improving as she goes on. So hats off to Lauren Murphy, man. Let's give her some credit.
one of the toughest women on
Yeah.
planet Earth.
She came to MMA late too. I mean, and I don't know. I think women can peak later in life, even when they start MMA later.
Meio pesado.
Big ceiling.
Paul Craig.
Speed.
Listen, Paul is such a unique fighter in this division, where it looks like he can be getting tossed around, beat up, but he's got such a calmness. He's so ready for these kind of insane fights, and then he pulls off these submissions. But when we talk to him, what he's really focusing on is blending it all together, right? Working on that stand-up, trusting in the stand-up. Because in that Volkan Oezdemir fight, he had some moments on the feet where he probably should have just tried to attack more on the feet, because Ozdemir's so worried about the takedown. He's being so defensive, but he just pulled guard too many times and went to the well way too often on trying to get the sub.
Lightweight division.
What's up, you guys? It's Terrence McKinney, and I'm fighting out of Spokane, Washington. And Paul Felder, what you say? We should get some rounds in this summer.
No. No. I've seen you fight, Terrence. I don't want any. Everybody's been calling me out for rounds as if I'm still any good. Listen, Terrence McKinney is so explosive, and this kid loves to fight. When we interviewed him, right, guys, that's all he talked about. You can tell there's some guys that genuinely cannot wait to get out there and have a fist fight. This is one of those kids.
Rick Little said that's the most talented dude to ever walk in his gym.
Really?
Na balança, ex-campeã peso palha, Jéssica Batistaca
Some rounds. Get out of
Andrade.
Who wants to fight anymore?
Jessica Andrade, one of the most decorated women in all of women's MMA. Sometimes I feel like she should just pop up to featherweight just to, have
You're right,
fought
right,
in every single women's division. And, this is a city and an arena that has a lot of good memories for her. This is where she got
Pile
the
drive
strawweight
Rose.
title.
Yeah.
That was a power
Slammed
drive.
Rose. It was,
She power drived her.
well, I mean, but it was legal because Rose
It
had
was
the
legal.
submission.
It was legal, but
Yeah, but it was.
WWE style, like the Undertaker.
I mean, she's an insanely powerful one, so
Dude,
strong.
the things that she's done. I mean, from
Yeah.
that to like the standing arm triangle. Who does a standing arm triangle?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
impressive. Against a much taller
And a
opponent.
very good fighter in Limos.
She's got a body of work that you feel like could be
Próxima
recognized by the
balança,
UFC Hall of Fame one day. If you
categoria
really
dos
look at the
galos,
wins
Luan
list, the
Lacerda,
championship, she's been a
division.
promotional workhorse, right? When she won the belt, goes to China 3 months later, defends against Zhang Weili. So Jessica Andrade back in a big way coming up this weekend. All right, we
wouldn't
are
fight Zhang
now
Weili.
privileged to be joined by the former undisputed UFC flyweight champion and now the UFC's. All right, excuse us. We're going to let this gentleman weigh
136
in.
for Luan Lacerda, 136 libras.
That
para
is
Luan
Luan
Lacerda.
Lacerda, outstanding BJJ practitioner.
John, you didn't
Wait
make a mistake.
for
That
his
was our
UFC
TVs
debut.
went off. You never make mistakes. That's TV. What is going on?
Hey, it is what it is. We
Don't
roll
set
with the
my boy
punches.
up for failure,
That's all right.
man.
We're about to start drinking. I mean,
I'm
we
gonna
get
start
to,
hitting somebody, John.
Well, thank
I'm gonna start beating dudes up if they don't get these TVs working.
we get to swear on the show. We get to drink on the show. I'm very excited
He's
for
never
all of
leaving.
that. But now joining us is the former undisputed UFC flyweight champion and now the interim flyweight champion, Tijuana's Brandon Moreno. Brandon, the fight before the fight is over. How'd you feel making weight and on the scale this morning, my man?
I don't think you're there.
Hi. I can't hear nothing.
Brandon, can you hear me, brother? Oh, doesn't appear that Brandon can hear me.
He's with us. It doesn't
But the ever affable Brandon Moreno is standing by patiently. We did get a chance to talk to him in our fighter meeting, and he's always so gracious with us, right? Some fighters obviously can be a little bit tight-lipped with us as far as strategy, even though we reserve all of that information until the fight actually begins. But he's just always so
Heavyweight division.
filled with veracity and
He works on the
confident.
side.
All right, so we'll get back to the scale here as we work on those technical issues.
Well, back to the scale here. We've got Ihor Potieria.
Nailed
John,
it.
thank you very much for helping me
Fucking nailed it.
with that pronunciation. Another Contender Series alumni, and man, the second fight in the UFC, and you're facing a legend like Shogun Rua, knowing it's his last fight. I mean, what an assignment for this guy. But he genuinely feels like he was not brought here to have some sort of easy retirement for Shogun Rua. He
Yeah,
feels
no.
like he's got a lot to offer in this
But
fight.
have you allowed yourself to think about it? Like when Shogun's music hits the
No, I mean,
Oh, I cannot wait. When this music hits in Brazil,
Yes.
oh my God, this place is gonna go crazy. I cannot wait. That song, oh my goodness. Can't wait.
All right, so here's the uber talented Simon Oliveira, curtain jerker against Daniel Marcos.
another huge prospect coming off season 5 of Dana White's Contender Series. He's a super seasoned guy, technical fighter, comfortable literally anywhere the fight goes. He can wrestle, he can strike. He's got some insanely, let's hear the weight here.
Para Simon Oliveira.
He cut some weight, Laura. That's one that looked
It's-
like he cut some weight.
Insanely good submission skills. And the fact that he got a contract off a split decision tells you everything you need to know about his fighting style. I mean, he goes out there to win.
I called that. I went with you, and I didn't want to give him a contract.
I think that's true.
I was against his contract.
You're pretty grinchy with those contracts.
I am the Grinch.
Very grinchy.
All right, so now we get to Josiane Nunes competing in the UFC's featherweight division. A lot of people think eventually she'll make a title run at bantamweight, but it took her 8 years to get to the UFC. Started her pro career at 19, and by the way, was to make her UFC debut against Zada Fairn, who missed weight by 11 pounds.
What?
So this fight has been rebooked, and it shall be done.
She went to the weigh-ins 11 pounds over?
11 pounds over.
But she actually got on the scale?
That's when you fall.
Oh,
That's when
don't do
you
that. Don't do
have
that.
a tummy trouble.
Don't do that.
Don't get on
do
the
that.
scale
Laura,
like
don't
that.
do
That's when you lie, right? I'm sick.
I'm sorry,
Sick.
but it's true. Don't get on the scale like
look.
that.
She did not go on that scale at 11 pounds overweight.
Looks guys like Johnny Walker is going to be next. He was a pretty big underdog against Iwan Cutelaba his last time out and cashed those tickets.
Absolutely delivered. You know, the one thing that I liked about Johnny Walker in the beginning was the explosiveness, obviously, the quick finishing ability. We saw a return to that in the last fight. But when he first started training down in Ireland, he became a bit hesitant in his approach. He was very cautious. It allowed for him to stay in fights, but he wasn't putting enough effort out there. This guy has all the physical gifts to be a destroyer at 205 pounds. If he can just 205 for Johnny Walker.
He's got to settle in a little bit,
If he
right?
can settle in, and get the momentum rolling, right? Like you won the last one, you get another one, you start to feel that confidence. There's a high ceiling for this kid.
All right, next fighter to the scale, the Hulk, Bruno Ferreira, replacing Brad Tavares against Gregory Rodriguez. As we mentioned, 6 fighters making their UFC debut, some of them undefeated. Bruno Ferreira, one of those, 9-0 with 9 finishes. Brazilian youth judo team, 3-time Brazilian national judo champion. Longest pro fight, though, 6 minutes and 8 seconds. So potentially bears watching against somebody like RoboCop.
How impressive is that, John? But like, isn't it weird that we hear guy has only fought for 3 minutes, Terry McKinney, all those guys, and you're like, makes me a little nervous though.
Yeah.
It still is like, it's impressive, but still very nervous.
When you always wonder about quality of competition. too,
And
coming
also
in.
the cardio to hold up. They go out there and look bad.
Light heavyweight division.
All right, also set to make his UFC debut, Melquizael Costa. And you see he has vitiligo, loss of skin color there and blotches, and really has been hard for him to deal with in his life. He said he was living like an animal for a while, like avoiding human interaction.
Wow.
And fighting really helped him overcome. 19-5 as he makes his debut. I think Scott Jorgensen was an inspiration to whatever degree, but he's a competent young man, and he's got a wealth of experience coming into the
Now he
UFC.
embraces, just
Yeah,
goes
he
out
said
there. He was great in the
embraces,
interview, too, and very explosive, fun fighter.
He said
Good submissions as well.
He said that his coach has allowed for him to just really like live in this
Próxima balança, categoria dos galos, Daniel Soncora Marcos, bantamweight division.
All right, here we go. Daniel Marcos. And I remember watching his fight on Dana White's Contender Series. Paul Felder like laughing at his opponent's durability. He mauled him for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of my teammates at the Institute of Human Performance in South Florida. Juan Carlos Santana has said this guy has top 5 material. Charles Rosa, his roommate, his head coach in his corner. Marcos, another one of these undefeated fighters making his UFC debut here Saturday night. Paulie's going to get us going here shortly on Gilbert Durinho Burns. I just have to say, I mean, his hair looks so good.
It does.
Gilbert Burns here, fighting out Boca Raton, Florida. By the way, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Hey, John Anik, I'm looking forward to see your outfit tomorrow night. I know you're gonna be sharp. My guy take care of your suit, so I'm looking forward to see you.
I mean, this guy has done so much for me in South Florida. Getting me a tailor, getting me a trainer. Gotta love Durinho Burns, man.
He's the man, bro.
Oh,
His
Durinho
son's
is
got
the
that same
man.
haircut too.
Yeah.
A nice little curly hairstyle.
That means you got to bring it back, John. We know you got it up there.
Yeah, it's not happening. It's fucking white.
Bring it. Bring the thickness, John.
Good ball.
And, you know, Durinho looks great, man. I remember I was matched up to fight him back at 155, and I can tell you that I'm glad that that never happened.
He's big at
So
170.
scary and explosive and just takes arms and necks home with him all the time. And I expect to see that from him. I expect to see him really attack the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling in this matchup with Neil. Who we got? Who's lined up here?
Munir Lazzez.
Munir Lazzez is another one inviting me out to his gym to get beat up. And he's a absolutely fantastic kickboxer. If you guys have not seen him fight yet, it's unbelievable. Go watch his UFC debut against Razak Al-Hassan on Fight Island. This kid was brought in because at a party somebody told Dana White that they had to watch this guy, and they did. And once you've seen him fight, you watch the highlights, his knees, his kicks, his boxing. He's durable, and he's been mixing in takedowns in his fights, well-rounded, and just full of confidence as well, is Lazzez.
Whoever interrupted Dana White's dinner and showed him footage of Munir Lazzez has a lot of balls, but got it done. So.
Fight Island. You guys remember Fight Island?
I do.
Oh, Lord.
Fight Island.
All right, UFC 283 official weigh-in show
hours.
continues here from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Killing my mini bar.
Pretty hot in here.
Hey, Paul, whatever that, what was the guy's name that John had? What was his name? Paul, what did
Marcos?
I do when they told me it was my guy?
Oh, Daniel Marcos.
He's over here like.
I'm like looking at my notes, like dropping stuff. I'm like, shit.
Handing me your coffee, taking the belt off.
I'm your lifeline. But now joining us here on the official weigh-in show, first-time UFC title challenger, one of the best light heavyweights in the world, repping Grand Rapids, Michigan, Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. Good morning, Jamal. How we feeling?
Good morning, fellas. I'm feeling good. And lady, of course. You know, yeah, I'm feeling good, man.
Well, let's talk about the lady, because Laura Sanko just was marveling at just your disposition all week, just physically, mentally, emotionally. You seem to be in a really good place, focused, confident. How are you feeling upstairs on the eve of the biggest night of your professional life?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready to go. My body feels good. My mind is sharp. And everything just went well for me this week, and just within the camp that I had. So I'm just here and I'm ready to go.
So oftentimes we hear fighters say that I won't know how a guy feels on the ground until I actually get in there with them. Dustin Poirier said that about Khabib Nurmagomedov. How do you feel about the physical challenge from Glover Teixeira should this fight hit the ground?
I'm excited for it. I mean, we're going to see. You know, that's what I'm here for. You know, we're just going to see. I'm really tired of all the questions, the ifs, ands, and what's about it. Show me, I'm ready to see what's up.
Jamal, you know, last night, I know you guys had a little workout. You were basically on weight as of last night, and I saw some posts from Brian Butler, your manager, the emotions that were going on. What was that like to have made that, already done that first battle on the scale, to have that embrace with your team and everybody for this journey, to be fighting for the belt, man?
It's just been amazing, you know. Just after I seen me hit my goal and seeing the numbers on the scale, that's when it just started to hit me. And, you know, I was just thinking, and I came to the realization I'm about to be a world champion. I'm about to be a world champion. I will beat Glover Teixeira, and I'm just ready for it. I can't wait till tomorrow night.
And Jamal, how's the experience been here, you know, coming over to Rio de Janeiro, fighting in Brazil against a Brazilian, bringing your team with you? What's the atmosphere with all you guys been, and just how has the state of mind been the whole week here in Brazil so far?
Brazil has just been amazing. It's just been good vibes, you know, great weather. It's a lot better than the weather I had back home, and just been enjoying it, enjoying the time with my team, feeling blessed, feeling locked in, and man, I just can't explain how ready I am and really what I feel in this moment right now.
Jamal, you said leading up to this fight that this was a lot more about proving how good I am, or seeing how good I am, and less of a focus, honestly, on the outcome. But I hear you talking about the title now. When you talk about the mentality of just going out there to see how good you really are, do you feel like that's going to allow you some freedom in this fight in the way that you will approach it?
Yeah, 100%. I'm coming with everything. I'm not concerned with losing. I'm not concerned with taking a loss. The only thing I'm worried about is just putting my best effort forward. And as far as the whole proving anything, I don't feel I have anything to prove to anybody. That's just something to myself, just to show myself, like, yeah, you are that good. You are that guy, you know, and I plan on showing that just as a byproduct. The world gets to see it.
Okay, the real question. If you take this title back to Grand Rapids, how many Yester dogs are you going to down in celebration?
I'm definitely gonna have to pull up the Yester dog. You know, it's been a while. I've been eating pretty clean, pretty straight, but I'm gonna have me a couple cheat meals. But I plan on getting my diet a little more in order as a champion and locking in even more.
Some Grand Rapids inside baseball.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah,
guys. You know, we got the hookup.
Right. They don't know nothing about the
They don't
Yester
know, they
dog.
don't know.
I know DC want to know about the Yester dog.
Hey, I do. But, hey, Jamal, Young Blood. What's up, Young Blood? Young Blood,
What's up, OG?
I wonder what the next 36, it's 36 hours to go into the fight. What does the next 36 hours look like for you? You've been so relaxed, so calm. You've been doing all kinds of stuff, from the beach to the Christ statue to the video games. Do you lock in now? Do you isolate yourself a little bit as you get prepared for battle? Or do you continue down the path where you run the risk of losing video games and all these other things?
Well, I don't think I'm at risk of losing any video games, especially if it's against you. But yeah, I'm just same thing, man. Just relaxing, enjoying this experience and things like that. You know, probably not so much beach time. You know, just because I don't want to be out in the sun, get drained or anything like that. But just taking care of my body right now, recovering, making sure I'm feeling great heading into tomorrow when that 36 hours is up.
You know, we talked about this last night. Like, have you allowed yourself to think of after the fight? Have you allowed yourself to think of what comes next? And you told me not necessarily you're locked in, but when you get into that octagon tomorrow night, what do you anticipate feeling before that first bell goes off when they say fighting for the undisputed championship of the world, Jamal Hill, Glover Teixeira?
Confidence. I just want confidence, comfortability, and just ready to implement myself, assert myself, and just be dominant. That's
Jamal,
really that's what I'm aiming for.
My man, Jamal, what time do you want to meet for this rematch? I'll offer you one. What time you looking to get this work?
Look, you on extreme Brazilian time, so we gonna let you pick the time and let me know when to show up, and I got you.
Oh, man.
You the one with all the obligations today.
Hey, Jamal, before we let you go, I know you're a loyalist when it comes to your coaches, and it's obviously a tight team. How cool has it been for you to sort of share this championship fight week with those guys who really are your day ones as far as your MMA career is concerned?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been everything. You know, these guys have been with me since I was a kid. They helped mold me into the man that I am, into the champion that I plan to be. So yeah, it's just been everything that I'm feeling. I know they're feeling it too. What's understood don't have to be explained with us. And yeah, man, we just locked in and we ready.
Well, I think you know how excited we are that you have this opportunity. You've earned it, and we wish you all the best with it. And perhaps the next time we talk to you, you're the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, Jamal.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
You said day ones, you know, like the culture, we respect that, you know, day
right,
one. Yeah,
right.
I like, you know,
my man.
My day one, you know, my day ones, you know.
But, you know, there
like
is
that.
a pressure for these athletes, and you can speak to this a little bit, in these smaller markets to maybe go to a bigger camp or get some different looks. And, you know, I think for Jamal, in a lot of respects, he's brought in some different people, but the proof's in the pudding. He got here doing it his way.
There is a lot of pressure when you come from one of those smaller gyms, and that pressure also comes in the form of wanting to be loyal to the guys who took a chance on you. When I think you started training with them at 19 years old, right? You walk in, those are the guys that have your back from day one. You want to stick around. And sometimes there comes a time where you need to move on. But to your point, John, I mean, look where he has come, the point he has gotten to with that team. And at a smaller gym, you can have that one-on-one attention. That every day is about you. It's not about you and 30 other UFC fighters. So there's pros and cons.
And I think that being said, you know, a lot of times the problem with these smaller gyms, right, is that these guys have to focus on so many other things. So you bring that light heavyweight belt back to that gym, those guys now can start to focus on Jamal, have other people coming in. You get more people that want to come and train with you and flock to that gym. So it goes both ways, right? Where you either move on, or sometimes that gym can turn into a bigger gym because you've got guys that want to come and train with the caliber of, you know, competition there.
I love individualized training. I'm a big gym guy, right? Like I was brought up in that system of a big gym. I love all the things that come with the big gym, right? Because you can do everything in one place. What Jamal Hill has done, he's reached this level in that small gym with that core group of guys, I understand the loyalty, and I think that it shows that it works. But like I said, I'm a big gym guy, man. I love the Kill Cliffs. I love the AK. I love the Jackson Winks. I love the big gyms where you have a whole bunch of guys in the American Top Team, whole bunch of bodies, because then you feel everything. Because in those big gyms, you have seen multiple Glover Teixeiras.
Yeah.
In the small gym, you don't necessarily get that feel daily, especially.
It has to be said, though, Jamal Hill has gotten to the precipice of a world title without living the championship lifestyle. You hear him allude to the fact that he's going to change his nutrition now and sort of live life as a champion. But if you want to speak to the talent, the athleticism,
so
right?
talented.
I mean, he could have been college basketball, college football standout, right? Like, he wanted to do mixed martial arts, and we're certainly glad that he is here. All right, now joining us back over at the Host Hotel after successfully making weight, one of the best welterweights in the world, Mr. Congeniality for me, Gilbert Durinho Burns, man. You look great, you sound great. We appreciate a few minutes this morning. How you feeling?
Feeling great, bro. Just make the weight was, to be honest, was pretty easy. I woke up, I had 2 pounds to cut. It was pretty easy. Now I'm hydrating already and looking forward to the fight, you know. April last year feels like a long time, you know. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. Super excited. But yeah, excited to fight.
So oftentimes in this UFC welterweight division, you are giving up some size. You have fought longer opponents in the past, but how do you expect to be able to navigate, you know, that 9-inch reach disadvantage against Neil Magny?
Again, one more time, one more disadvantage on the not on the weight, you know, but these guys are very tall. All those guys at welterweight, they bigger. See, Damian was bigger than Kamaru, then Wonder Boy, everybody, you know, Hamza. So I think I'm getting used to these. And then my teammates too, Jason Jackson, the London Taker, they prepare me very good. So I think I'm gonna do pretty well against Neil Magny. For sure, I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but I think I got it. You know, I got his number, I believe.
Durinho, when you look at the odds, you are a massive favorite over Neil Magny. And when you look at that, it seems as though you're supposed to go out there and really kind of separate yourself from him. But Neil Magny isn't a guy that gets wiped out. Neil Magny's in every fight. How do you plan to go out there and dominate a guy that does not get dominated?
I'm just gonna do me, you know, and I don't even look at the odds, to be honest. It's always a pressure on my back to finish these guys. I put that pressure. I want to finish. And I just gotta, to be honest, right now, I'm just gotta rest. I gotta relax. And tomorrow night, I gotta be 100% present. If I'll be there, I don't know, you know, we don't know what's gonna be there Fight night when the light comes on. But if I'm there present, 100% in there, I'm gonna finish Neil Magny. We're not doing more than 10 minutes tomorrow if I'm present tomorrow.
Gilbert, I know that Neil wasn't necessarily your first choice of opponents, but you appreciated him stepping up. As you started to game plan for Neil Magny, what aspect of his game caught your attention the most?
I think he freaking guy is very long, used the distance very good. Throw a couple knees when the guys are smaller than him. He tends to throw a lot of knees. Clinch a little bit. I still think he's gonna clinch with me. But yeah, those are I think the main things. His straight punch, because it's very long. I think his knees and the clinch, those are the best things that he do. He's not a quitter, you know. But I do believe with a good pressure, throwing a couple good punch inside and outside of his guard, with a good changing level, good takedowns, my power, my heavy grappling, I think is going to be the keys to beat Neil Magny.
Gilbert, we know that you're a guy that is super prepared for all your matchups, right? You take notes, you study your opponent, you think about the game plan, and you bring people in. And I think for this one in particular, when we talked to you in the meetings, you really talked about a particular sparring partner. Can you tell for the people at home watching this how important that was to bring in somebody that really could replicate the size and that reach of somebody like Neil Magny?
Yeah, it's super important, I think, you know. So I'm fighting a tall guy. I need to train with a tall guy. Even at that time, everything was, I'm fighting a tall guy. He's black. My guy is black. He's tall. He's just the same, you know. I'm a guy. This freaking guy. I'm cutting weight. I was already 180s, getting to 70s, and the freaking guy was 205 the whole week. So yeah, I'm pretty confident these guys. But I think if you're fighting a small wrestler, you gotta bring a small wrestler. If you're fighting a tall guy, you gotta bring a tall guy. So. Luckily, at Kill Cliff FC, I have Jason Jackson and Delano Taylor. Those are the two guys that I trained the most. Shavkat was there for a little bit, gave me a couple good rounds too. Ian Gary, so all those guys, I'm used to the longer guys, you know, and it's gonna be one more, but I think it's very, and nowadays, every single detail matters, you know, so I gotta bring a guy that's gonna he's gonna look like my opponent. Then I make sure I watch a couple videos with these guys, and we got the tendency. He changed stance right there. He does that. You think you can do it? Yeah, okay, let's drill that a little bit, and then kind of getting more and more prepared to the guy that I'm facing. You know, I gotta be in there. The key to beat these guys is to be there as many times as I can. So whenever it's a fight time, I've been there many times, so I'm used to these.
All right, Gilbert Burns, before we let you go, we have all been working on our Brazilian Portuguese. We want to play a little pronunciation game with you because you sound so beautiful in 2 languages. So as I understand it, you're going to hold up a card, and we are going to try to pronounce it, and I guess you're going to see who pronounces it the best. So if you wouldn't mind taking it away, Dorina, what's the first word?
DC's counting on that? DC's doing that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think DC's a little bit underappreciated.
I've got great
his
Portuguese.
Yeah.
Let's go. That one's easy.
Okay.
But I'm looking for the accent. Let's go.
Okay. Who's first? For me? Obrigada.
first.
Obrigada.
So, Paul,
Paulie?
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Paulie.
Obrigado.
I will say obrigada.
Who's that? Who is
Paul.
that? No, no.
Daniel.
Who? Say again, John.
Obrigado.
That was good.
This guy's biased, man.
He is. We're teammates.
Go,
We're
Paul
teammates.
Felder. Paul Felder.
Obrigado.
Oh,
I like that too.
Okay, I need
Laura?
my shot. I need my shot here. Obrigada. Because I'm a girl. I'm going to say the A. DC, you said the
Yeah,
A.
yeah.
I said the
DC
A.
was so
But
bad.
you're not
Everybody was
you're
good.
not a
DC
girl.
was
Obrigado.
horrible.
Obrigado.
No, DC was horrible.
Give a point.
DC was horrible.
Gilbert, who gets the point? Sanko?
DC. No, John
All right.
Enick was
Yeah.
the
My
best.
God.
Then
See?
Paul second. Laura was good too. Laura and Paul, they even on the second place, and DC is the
All right, what do we got next,
DC didn't
Gilbert?
go to playoffs. DC didn't went to the playoffs. Let's go Rio
All right,
de
DC,
Janeiro.
what do we got here?
Rio de Janeiro.
That was better. It was better.
Rio de Janeiro.
All right, so they both butchered that middle. It's not day, it's D. Now, a lot of
said
Brazilians will tell you it's Rio de Janeiro, but we go Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah. Yes. Go, Laura.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, no, John won this one.
Oh,
Ah,
God.
that's fair. He's from Florida.
Wait,
He's biased, man. This guy's
Because
biased.
you got that Florida, the Portuguese, the Spanish
Yeah,
in there. So
right. All right, what's the next word, Gilbert?
okay, morning. Come on, let's go morning.
Hey, man, that's bon dia. Bon dia.
That's good.
That's good morning. Bon dia is good morning. I'm not doing this bull crap. I want to say bon dia.
Mana?
Well, almost.
Manhã.
Yes.
Oh, is it
Yes.
I was going to say Manya.
Manya?
No, come on, that's Laura.
Thank
Laura
you.
got this one.
Can you say that for us, Gilbert? How do you say that?
Manhã.
Or you,
Manhã,
you could
okay.
just listen to what I said,
Yeah.
John.
Manhã. And that's the easiest one. Come on.
Oh, yeah, I know this one. Tudo bem.
Sound like a fucking
Tudo
R
Bear.
in there.
Tudo Bear. Where's Tudo Bear?
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem.
Tudo
So
bem.
bad.
Tudo
Come
bem.
on, DC.
Tudo bem.
Yes, that
Tudo
Laura
bem.
was good on that. Yes, that's it. John and Laura. Laura got this one. And
Oh, my God.
We got a tiebreaker for them there, yeah?
come on, DC.
Oh, boy.
All right,
that
we got a
one's
few
easy.
words to go. Champ, what do you got?
Why do I have to go first every time? I don't know what this shit is.
Yeah, that is the point.
Pow. Pow.
Almost.
Not bad.
Almost.
Because that accent, I'm
The
like,
queijo,
it
the
was in
queijo.
the other word too, right?
The cheese bread, cheese bread.
Yeah.
Pao,
Pio.
Pio.
Almost. No.
You ready? Oh, John Tron went?
No, I don't know this one. Pio, I said.
Oh,
No.
pão.
Come on, Laura.
Pão.
Yes.
Thank
Laura
you.
got it.
What the hell, bro?
All right, final word. We'll see if somebody can tie Laura Sanko.
Come on. Chicken heart. Come on.
DC.
Oh, okay, I got to start because I'm in the lead. Coração.
Yes.
Yeah, it
You
sounds
got it, Laura
good.
got it.
Coração.
Yeah, Jones good too.
Coração. I'm just stealing
Yes,
them.
bro.
You ready
Look,
for
but I
this?
got
DC.
Gilbert, I got a coconut over
Hey,
there.
hey, okay, my turn.
Nice.
Hey, my turn. Coração.
That was pretty good.
Yes, DC.
That was
Come on,
good.
DC. DC got it one at least.
All right, Laura
guys.
Sanko wins the pronunciation
Go
game.
hydrate up, Gilbert.
Gilbert Torino Burns, we appreciate the extended time, man. All the
I get
best
the belt?
Saturday night.
Guys.
We will see you at the fights. All right, brother?
Thank you, guys. Take it easy.
There he is, Gilbert Torino Burns. Isn't it amazing? As soon as the pronunciation game ends, he goes back into full throttle serious fighter, right?
Yeah.
All right. And here is his teammate from the Institute of Human Performance, Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez.
Yes, and last time we saw RoboCop, he had one of the nastiest cuts
He
I've
did?
ever seen on a fighter. Remember the
Yeah,
brow
he said,
split?
but he said like a week later he did some stuff and he said it was gone.
Are you serious?
If you see his face, it looks like it's barely there. It's crazy.
On weight for Gregory Rodriguez. Have you ever field dressed a deer? Because that's what it looks like.
It looked bad.
Have you?
It's a good analogy.
Anybody up here field dressed a deer?
No,
Me?
we-
There's not so many
Alright.
deers running around that we hunt in Philadelphia. So.
Recebam o ex-campeão meio pesado e hall da
I
fama
saw
do
a baby
UFC,
possum one
Maurício
time, though.
Shogun
All right, folks,
Rua.
with much fanfare, the final combat sports weigh-in for Mauricio Shogun Rua.
I mean, this guy is just a legend in the game, an absolute savage. And we had a conversation yesterday that Shogun, who was prime, was in Pride. So everything he's done has been post his absolute best.
205 pounds for
205 for Shogun.
Rua.
His past
205
is
libras
fighting
para
prime.
Maurício Shogun.
To say that he became UFC champion, an absolute legend, classic fights with Dan Henderson and all these guys, amazing fighter,
Look at that
amazing
smile.
human being. The guy's one of the nicest people you ever meet.
Yes.
And it's going to be great to see him fight for the last time and also see him fighting where he's not getting just put out, right? You thought that his story would end like that a couple years ago, but lately he's been more durable, he's been more fresh, he's been able to be in there with guys and fight whole fights.
All right, so Nicholas Dalby and Neil Magny will be the next two fighters to weigh in, and then you see the list of fighters still to weigh in. Anthony Lionheart-Smith as a backup for the championship main event. Shamil Abdurrahimov, Jailton Almeida, Ismail Bonfim, and Zada Fan. We are told that Anthony Smith is having a little bit of trouble. Here's Nicholas Dalby.
Hey, I'm Nicholas Dalby, fighting out of Denmark, the Danish Dynamite. DC and Felder, you've been commenting on my unusual breathing patterns during my previous fights. What are maybe some of the quirks you guys have noticed about your previous opponents?
I didn't hear what he said.
Yeah, what was that?
Did any of your opponents have quirks, like other quirks? Because apparently you talk about his breathing a lot when you commentate.
Oh, that's
Right.
what he said?
Yeah.
Well, he breathes with his mouth open and he kind of moves around a little weird, you know, but he wins, so it's really all that matters. But yeah, guys had quirks. I don't remember them now.
Yeah. I can't remember either.
All right.
Nicholas
if it comes
Dalby-
back to you, let us
Yeah,
know.
generally, you know, people talking in that little box don't talk as long.
This was a moment ago as we were interviewing his opponent, Gilbert Torino Burns, Neil Magny, winningest welterweight in UFC history, successfully weighed in.
Absolutely, and this is a situation of ask and you shall receive. Let's hear the weight here real quick. I think I might have missed it, but I'm sure he's on weight.
Oh, yeah.
171. Neil called his shot, and he got his shot. I mean, this is a situation where he realizes this is a huge step up for him, but as you say, winningest welterweight of all time, he's trouble for anybody. He's a hard fight for anybody.
Oh, when you got a 9-inch reach on anybody, it's an advantage. And the way he moves, the way he just has so much experience. I mean, the guy has fought. How many welterweight wins does Neil Magny have?
20.
20. Okay, I didn't even have 20 fights in the UFC, let alone
20
20 wins.
welterweight wins.
Incredible.
Can we talk about something that really matters right now, other than the fighters?
Beer?
I won a game.
Oh.
And why are you still holding the belt?
Well, there was a decision made.
I need the belt, and I need to make someone spin the wheel.
No. that was a decision made in my ear that it wasn't for the championship. It was a non-title fight.
No, I'm hearing different things in my ear.
It was a 3-rounder?
It was a 3-round title
Oh,
fight.
I was going to make him bring it to me,
how
John.
do
I
you-
like making him bring it.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, she usually like to make me bounce over that. But
All right, so does this mean we spin wheels? I mean, when do we start drinking on this
I
program?
know,
I
this
am
has been
gonna
a lame
pick-
show.
I'm actually going to, I'm gonna pick. I have to. I'm sorry. I have to.
oh,
pick
really?
you.
So that's what we're doing again? Okay.
Yeah, we're back
Okay,
to that.
We're back to
We're back
You want
to
me
that.
to do it?
Yeah.
You want to do it? Go ahead.
For you.
Oh, for me?
Also because you definitely lost that game.
Well, I don't
Held
know
it
how
pretty
to
well.
speak. I don't know how to speak Portuguese very well. You know, I'm not very good in the Portuguese. God, I'm strong. You see how much that's fun? I barely touched it.
Wow, it actually moves well.
I'm like really strong.
They really moved that
They
thing
moved it up, yeah.
Oh, shock him.
Oh.
Oh yeah, mute my mic.
Oh, that's.
Yes.
Who wants that?
Yes.
Right.
DC doesn't
Go.
have it.
All right.
Buddy.
Oh, wait, Miles got to mute you.
Miles.
That is
Oh, my
unbelievable. This dude grabs the cellular telephone, as you might expect. He's got a 300-second break right now, so you're not going to be a part of rapid fire. RJ, I think we need a few Serpas. I'd like to get some alcohol in the
Yeah,
mix
let's
here.
loosen up
Thank
a
you
little
very
bit.
much.
Yeah.
You need to
There you
take
go.
that
Put
off
something in
of
your
the
mouth
wheel.
and
That is
talk.
not even remotely a punishment for DC.
I have a lot of work to do tonight, but perhaps this will be a performance enhancer. All right. Rapid fire, the order is going to be Laura Sanko and Paul Felder because DC is muted. So, you know, I kind of like this, man. This is kind of nice. All right.
I love a freaking Serpa, man.
I know. You see, now you're good, right? All right.
Oh, that's
If
delicious.
our title fight, Laura, goes into the championship rounds, does it favor Jamal Hill or Glover Teixeira?
Championship rounds, I'm going to give that to Glover Teixeira because that means
Yes.
that Jamal wasn't quite able to get
That is
him
the correct answer.
knocked out when he had the most power. Oh, I forget this is rapid fire. As soon as I start drinking, I start talking. Sorry.
You didn't even start yet. Me? Yes, Glover Teixeira, by far.
Do they have any cold beers back there? Are we
I
drinking
know,
like
this
the
one is,
lukewarm variety? I mean, I like the Serpa,
This
but
isn't
this is
very,
considered
isn't
cold
very
in Brazil.
Rio de Janeiro.
All right. Over under 2.5 takedowns landed by Glover Teixeira.
I'm going to say over.
Over.
Championship experience, obviously it resides with Glover Teixeira, but do you think that's an advantage appreciably over Jamal?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. When he knows how to manage a 5-round. Jamal's been in 5-round fights, but Glover's been there a gazillion times, and for sure it's an advantage.
Yeah, I think it's a big advantage for Glover.
All right, who is next up for the light heavyweight title shot after Jamal and Glover?
I mean, is it going to be? I mean, if Yuri's better, there's got to be.
Yeah.
Why you stop talking? You were muted.
You got
can't-
3 minutes, bro.
You can't.
Either Yuri, depending on health, or I think Magomed and Kalaev.
DC's over there saying John
Yeah, I
Jones.
think he mouthed
You've got
John
the wrong
Jones.
weight class.
All right. If Glover Teixeira loses, this is interesting because he's been a little bit tight-lipped about this. Does he ever fight again if he loses?
I think so. I really do. Honestly, I think Glover's at a point where he is at peace with his phenomenal career. I think having Alex Pereira by his side has really reinvigorated his love for the sport. I don't know that it's about wins and losses anymore. I know he wants the belt, but I think he keeps going for a while longer.
Yeah, I think he does go because I think the way the state of the division is, I feel like he thinks he's one win
Yeah.
away from potentially being right back in there. So, yeah.
All right, Davison Figueiredo or Brandon Moreno, who has improved more since the first fight between the two?
Oh, I got to go with Brandon because the confidence that Brandon Moreno, you could just see it grow in that first fight. And then you saw it come to fruition in the second fight. And it was Davison that had to make the adjustments into the third fight. So I'm going Brandon.
Yeah, but just because, I mean, just to mix things up, I'm going to go Davison because of that third fight, having getting choked out and coming back and being much more dialed in and winning that third fight. I'll say Figueiredo.
This is going so much faster when he's not talking.
He's got a couple minutes
This
left.
is like actual rapid fire.
Better hurry up.
Buy or sell, Figueiredo and Moreno will fight a fifth time.
Oh my God, please sell. Please. Please sell.
No. Wait, what's
All right.
that?
I mean, it's great, but I don't need 5
Sell.
fights.
Sell. All right, over under 2.5 rounds for Gilbert Burns and Neil Magny.
I'm going to go under. I
Over.
think Gilbert is motivated to get the finish.
Paulie
But-
likes the distance fight.
I know, Neil's very tough.
All right, fill in the blank. Let's be clean about it. Jessica Andrade can blank better than anyone in women's MMA.
Did you really have to qualify?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, like, she can slam, but she can, I mean, she's like my favorite fighter.
Yeah.
She can do a lot of things better than a lot of women.
I think she can punch better. She can high crotch better. I mean, Were you quick?
Power bomb. You can power bomb better than anybody.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. All right.
DC's free. DC's getting free.
All right, our man Miles LaFosse coming back in here to unmute DC. He wants another minute. All right, will Johnny Walker versus Paul Craig enter a second round?
Ooh. No, I don't think it will.
No.
No.
All right, think about this for a second. Greatest Brazilian 205-pound fighter of all time, Vanderlei Silva, Lyoto Machida, Shogun Rua, or Glover Teixeira?
Oh, this is a really difficult one. I might have to say Lyoto Machida. But that's a hard one.
DC's jaw effectively drops to his belt. We need an answer from you on this one.
I'm going Shogun. Because it's not
You're back.
necessarily.
I'm not back. I'm not back.
Yes, you are. You're back.
Can you hear me? Oh,
You're
I'm
back.
back.
You come back to
They
work.
brought me back early.
You're back.
Shogun. Yeah, Shogun. Glover Teixeira's got
Where's
a really
Lappy
good
at? I'll
strong
bet
case.
you Lappy is sitting jealous somewhere that I'm.
Glover's
sitting
got
here
a
to
strong
serve
case,
up.
guys.
He does, but I mean, I don't know. Lyoto,
And rapid fire's been so fast, we could maybe settle in this one a little
I
bit.
only say that because of the Pride career too. Like we didn't say best. You didn't say UFC.
No, you
right?
did
You
say
said
UFC, best of
Brazilian.
all time, yeah.
Okay. That actually might change it for me because I was thinking like, who is UFC career? As you said earlier, the
probably
Pride is
Glover.
where we did his
Yeah,
best
that,
work.
well, and that
But
was
even
soccer
but
kick
even
and
but
pull.
even Shogun was also
He was
UFC
great in
champion,
UFC,
and
yeah.
he fought Lyoto, who's on
Yes.
that list
Yeah.
twice. Although Lyoto, I have a soft spot for. I mean,
Yeah. You like named yourself after the guy. Right?
I mean the Irish Dragon is
Yeah. Right.
pretty much because he was the
Right.
dragon, and I was a karate guy myself, a taekwondo guy. So
He's the Iron Lung now.
We're tight. Now
Irish
I'm the
Dragon
Iron
is
Lung.
no longer
Yeah.
his nickname, but
keep an
I
eye out
digress.
for our merch coming out soon.
That's right. Iron Lung merchandise will be out shortly. All right, so we are back in Brazil
Serious
for the
on
first time in a long time. Last pay-per-view in Rio was 2019. We were in Brasilia in 2020. But this is an MMA mecca, and we are very excited to be back in the place that a lot of people consider to be the birthplace of mixed martial arts.
Seja bem-vindo a Vanli.
Hoje é feijoada ou dobradinha?
Começa a desfazer, tira o braço, tira o braço.
Tempo. 1, 2, 3, vai!
Querido UFC, sentimos sua falta. Afinal, isso tudo começou com a gente. E nossa contribuição tem sido imensa. Viu só? Nós temos história juntos.
44 seconds, the knockout, as they chant the name Vitor here in São Paulo.
Você foi embora por um tempo, mas você voltou.
This fight's gonna be stopped right now.
It's all over. Anderson Silva remains the middleweight champion.
E nós compartilhamos bons momentos.
Oh! That's it! He just sprinted out and ran into the crowd. They're carrying him on their shoulders now. Look at this. A scene like we've never witnessed before.
Mas você teve que ir embora outra vez.
There are no fans in attendance.
E a gente tem sido paciente, assistindo de longe, levando tudo isso.
I don't believe it! Alex Pereira! The undisputed middleweight champion!
Encantados pela nossa beleza, cultura e resiliência.
Boa noite! Charles Oliveira has done it!
Esperando seu retorno, sabendo que um dia você responderia.
Brasil, estamos de volta.
That's tremendous.
To our editor, John, and our producer, Mike
That
Ricci,
was amazing.
tremendous piece, and certainly gets us fired up for this return to Brazil. And you know we love these rent-free moments, right? Good or bad, these moments in UFC history, MMA history that sort of withstand the test of time. So let's start with you, Paulie. We have a Brazilian edition of Rent-Free. What is the moment that actually occurred down here in Brazil that will eternally live rent-free?
I mean, I will never forget my journey for the first time to Brazil for a fight with Francisco Massaranduba Trinaldo in Brasilia, Brazil. And the arena was fucking shaking. And I could hear them chanting, in Portuguese, "You're gonna die," basically. And again, these people were amazing before, and they were amazing after. And obviously, I have Daniel Gracie in my corner there, who's from Brazil, and we knew what we were in for. And I had an absolute battle, but I'll never forget that crowd and how absolutely amped they were for their own. And I'm glad. I was just asking DC if he ever got to fight down here, and I'm so glad that is part of my history that I took that fight. It was a loss. But I came down here and, to fight in the mecca of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, it was an experience.
Did you have Daniel Gracie in your corner as like a neutral gang color? Like, hey, I got one of you with me. Don't kill me.
It kind of helped. I'm telling you, all week, I'd walk around and you felt safe when you walk around with Daniel Gracie. Nobody's gonna mess with me. I was like, I'm with you guys. I'm fighting you, but yeah.
Champ.
I came out to watch or call a fight back in the day. And I was doing the in-fight interviews, the Octagon interviews, and this happened. It was crazy. Look, take a look.
I should have knocked him out. Brazil, you're a dog. All you filthy animals suck. I got one thing to say. Tyrone Woodley, I'm coming for you. If you don't answer the front door, I'm going to knock it in, and I'm going to take what's mine, that welterweight belt.
I was at a loss for words. I was like,
what do I say?
I was like, what do I say not to get ran out of here?
Yeah.
Because you're like guilty by association.
Yeah.
But
I just asked him the question.
Bro, the way the crowd reacted to him, and then the urgency in which they walked him out of there, and the way that they sat on his floor with security through the rest of the night showed you. Dude, it was loud. I had never heard, and he just beat the crap out of Damian Maia.
Yeah.
Like for as much as you hate him, he's really, really good.
Yeah.
And he beat the crap out of Damian Maia, and then he went on and said that. There was so much hope that Damian Maia could beat him. And very quickly you realize he was outclassed.
Right.
Yeah.
And this dude just went out there and told them they were all trash. It was nuts.
So I got a couple quick ones. First UFC assignment for me, January 14th, 2012. The only time I've ever been the backstage reporter for the UFC. I'm in the locker room interviewing Anthony Rumble Johnson. And Edson Barboza knocks out Terry Edom with that spinning wheel kick. Greatest knockout in UFC history. I thought it was a fucking terrorist attack. I thought we were dying. Like the arena was shaking. I thought we were under attack. And of course, it was just Terry Edom on the wrong end of the spinning wheel kick. But for me, the moment I'll always remember on the equator in Fortaleza when Edson Barboza with that flying knee to knock out Benito Dariush. I mean, dude, like
I was training with Edson at that time, and I remember losing my damn mind at that one.
I couldn't talk after that call. So that was probably the most memorable moment for me here in Brazil. Randall Clifford, I believe you're on deck, my man. What do you have for us?
Yeah, well, if you're, driving the bus, the bandwagon on Jessica Andrade, she'll be the bartender because I just love. I mean, she can knock you out with one punch to the head. She can knock you out with a punch to the body. She can arm triangle you standing. But when she slammed Rose Namajunas at UFC 237, put her head through the canvas, ripped the belt off of her body, picked it up, and took it back to Brazil. This is Rampage Jackson shit. This is Matt Hughes shit. And Jessica Andrade, the most brutal and physical fighter, even compared to Amanda Nunes, pound for pound, we've ever seen in the UFC. And that's the best example of it. And she got the belt.
That is a badass woman. That is a badass woman. The one for me, okay, so kind of like you, John, the first time I ever did a pay-per-view as a backstage reporter was UFC 212. And I knew the gravity of the moment, but I didn't really know the gravity of the moment. Max Holloway facing Jose Aldo. Of course, Max has the interim belt. Jose has the undisputed belt. And if you remember the fight, like the first 2 rounds, it was Jose's fight. And then this. It was like the 3rd round, Max Holloway came out, made a decision to win, get in Jose's face, and then as soon as he knocked him down, the next few minutes was just an absolute beatdown. And I will never forget the silence.
Really?
The absolute,
quiet?
not a single
Get
clap,
out of here.
not a single.
Was Max
it was
a pretty big
deafening.
underdog going
No,
into that
no.
first one?
He wasn't a big
But
underdog.
you know,
Not in
the
the first-
king of Rio in Rio
Yeah.
getting
Oh my God.
dethroned was crazy.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
There's been so much special UFC history here. We talk about 2013, the year of Vitor Belfort, on and on it goes, but we got to get back to the festivities. UFC 283, some fighters hitting the scale. And I believe Shamil Abdurakhimov will be next. Good to see him back.
Where
for the
was
first
he
time
at?
in a
Getting
long time.
breakfast?
It's good to see Shamil back. You know, he probably hit the buffet on his way out
Yeah,
to the
he
weigh-in.
certainly
He's a
did.
heavyweight. But when you think about Shamil, he's the ranked fighter. He has, he's fighting against Jailton. And Jailton's so explosive. But let me tell you, Shamil has the ability and the fighting style to slow him down. He has a real ability. 263 for Shamil. He has a real ability to make this fight at a turtle's pace. Slow, in the clinch, taking him down, slowing him down. This is a very dangerous fight for Jailton because he's got a lot of momentum. And these are the types of guys that stop momentum. And then you start to kind of wonder what went wrong.
Well, he's going to have to slow him down because Jailton Almeida is one of the scariest characters I think I've ever seen, certainly coming off Dana White's Contender Series. 3-0 in his UFC run. All of them are finishes, 4 if you count the Contender Series finish as well. And, I mean, this is a guy, let's hear the weight here. I mean, he's a heavyweight. We're pretty solid he's on weight. I can't hear it in my ear, but I'm confident he's on weight.
232.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. I can't hear those weights. But, I mean, he's a guy who will fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. You know, heavyweight on last minute, undefeated Russian, doesn't matter. He'll go out there and handle business.
All right, Paulie, now we get to Ismael Bonfim making his UFC debut. Pro debut came when he was 15 years of age.
Yeah, and obviously on this card with his brother, who we saw weigh in earlier today. And Ishmael, known to be the crankier of the two brothers, but I think Ishmael is also a very exciting fighter to watch. You're going to see a little bit less of the submission game and a little bit more of fantastic boxing, although both brothers just well-rounded, can get the fight done wherever. I'm excited to see both of these gentlemen fight. They seem very dialed in, very aware of their game plans to come in here tomorrow night and put on a show for everybody.
This kid was getting waivers to fight at 15 years of age. He fought Adriano Moraes, who beat Demetrius Johnson last year, right? When he was fucking 15. Like,
That's
just
crazy.
incredible. A lot of moving parts on the UFC 283 official
Title
weigh-in
fight.
show.
Title fight.
What are we doing now, guys? I missed
Title
the traffic.
opportunity.
I don't know.
All right, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu trivia.
Okay, let's do this.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we can rock with
Get
this.
your Peruvian necktie stuff out. All right. Do we have any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts on the panel?
No.
No, we got 2 brown belts, though.
All right, well, we're going to need you guys. If you can't
I
get
haven't
this
been
first...
back to put the gi on. Daniel's like, I have a brown belt waiting for you when you ever put the gi back on ever in your life.
Yeah.
So I'll never be a brown belt.
Go get the pajamas. All right. So this first one, we're going to ease in. So we need you to list the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belt ranks in order using the 5 primary colors. And I'll give you a hint. It starts with white belt, if that helps you. Friendly reminder not to flip your answers. I did just see DC try to
Wait.
Answers, though.
Blue.
This would be the one thing you wouldn't have to cheat on.
No.
Don't talk.
No.
5.
Oh my God, I can't remember that. Purple belt. I missed purple belt. I
Are you
cannot remember
kidding
purple
me?
belt.
White,
I've not
blue,
done
purple,
jiu-jitsu.
I got
brown,
extra credit
black.
with Coral.
Oh, yeah.
I have not done jiu-jitsu or thought about
Technically.
jiu-jitsu in that regard in so long.
Yeah.
I don't watch like ADCC and all this other stuff.
College wrestling. All right, we are going to go live now to
all right,
Anthony Lionheart Smith,
I am
live
a
weigh-in. We'll get
provoker.
back to the trivia, rest assured. But this is Anthony Lionheart Smith weighing in as a backup for the title fight between Glover Teixeira and Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill.
What do you think these guys get for like weighing in as a backup fighter? Do you think they get their show money?
I think
I think
there
it's
are
different for
varying
everybody.
degrees.
Pretty awesome if they did.
Some of these guys' show money would be pretty nice.
You know,
Yeah.
Anthony's thinking, just get me on this dance scale
Yeah.
so I can go eat something.
Yeah.
Na balança, o lutador reserva da luta principal de sábado, Anthony Smith. Light heavyweight division.
smirk.
Doesn't look overly happy.
No.
My question is, like, both of the main event guys made the weight.
Yeah.
209 pounds for.
All right, 209.
4 pounds to go.
It is 10 a.m. local time here in Brazil, 2 hours ahead of the east coast of the U.S. He will now have an additional 2 hours until noon local time to cut the final four. But
I'm done. Like, I'm probably done at this point, right? Both guys made the weight. You're 4 over still.
Yeah, but do you
No,
have
you're
to
not
make the
gonna
weight
get
to get the
paid.
money? Do you have to
Yeah.
make the weight to get your money for being the backup fighter?
Vicente Luque, some of you remember, missed weight bad as a backup, but he only had 12 days notice, so I don't know how they navigated all of that, but we'll see if Anthony Smith ultimately makes weight, but looks like he is going to try to cut a little bit more. All right, we're going to get back to the trivia here. Trivia, I should say.
Anyone drinking?
And again, we're going to ease you guys in, so I need
I'm
to
so
know
good.
the first UFC fighter to earn a submission via twister.
The what?
First twister in UFC history was executed by whom?
Oh, I know this.
It was not Bryce Mitchell.
No, I know.
I was just trying to help, bro.
He tried like 5 times in that fight, though.
All right, 2-2-1. Next one. I need to know 2 of the 3 opponents that Royce Gracie faced at
my
UFC 1.
Are you
2 of
kidding?
3.
There's absolutely like.
Royce Gracie faced 3 men in November of 1993 at UFC 1.
I'm gonna guess this. I'm gonna
10. 8.
I'm gonna guess from the wrestling.
I know. Okay.
I'm gonna
3.
guess. I'm gonna guess the wrestling guy.
Ken Shamrock was 1. 1 glove
The
Art
wrestling guy.
Jimerson.
1 glove art.
Dang it.
All right, so
remember
Gerard
his last
Gordeau.
name. I
Art
couldn't remember his
Jimerson,
last
and Ken
name.
Shamrock. We're giving you credit for 1 glove art. All
Who
right.
was the guy?
Art Jimmo.
Kimbo or
Art
Kimbo
Jimmo.
or the guy with the ponytail?
No. Yeah.
That wasn't him?
Kimo Leopoldo. No, it was Gerard Gordeau, Art Jimerson, and Ken Shamrock. All right. Jiu-jitsu is commonly referred to as what?
Awesome.
Ha! Terrible. Like imagine.
Like what it means?
Not a direct
What they
translation, but what do people
Say it
call
is.
jiu-jitsu? You hear me reference this a lot on the air that it isn't necessarily
You got
the
it.
most appropriate nickname. All right.
You got it.
Let's see what we got. The gentle art, which is insane. It's one of the most non-gentle athletic endeavors I've ever been a part of. All right, everybody's tied at 3. All right, next up, who was the first American to win a black belt division of the World Jiu-Jitsu Championship? What do you guys got? The Prodigy, BJ Penn. All right, we're tied at 4. All right, which branch of the United States military first started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Which branch of the U.S. military first started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Total guess.
3, 2, DC says the United States Army. Laura Sanko says the Marines.
I was
what does
gonna
that
put
say?
Marines.
I almost
guessed.
put Army. That was a guess.
All right, so Paul
Being
says
honest.
Marines and the Navy. Are we giving
Paul
you
should
credit
not
for
get
that?
points for that.
Well, the Marines are a
The
section
Marines
of
are part of the Navy.
Okay. Paul gets a
God.
point. Laura gets a point. 5-5-4.
I did well because that's not the Marines aren't necessarily a branch of the military, are they? They're in the Navy.
part
They're
of
a
the
special
Navy.
forces branch of the military.
No, that's not true, Paul.
Who has the most submissions in UFC history?
Turn it up a little.
5, 4, 3, 2. Charlie Olives, Charles DuBronx Oliveira.
Do Bronx.
All right, we got a
Bronx.
game. Anybody's game. All right. How many times has Jacare Souza won the World Jiu-Jitsu Championship at black belt? How many times has Jacare won the World Jiu-Jitsu Championship at
Don't
black
be a
belt?
guess, boys.
5,
Same.
4,
Guess.
3,
No idea.
2. DC says 6. Sanko says
5.
5. Felder says 4. I would give Paulie a point for being closest, but it's 3. The 04 Absolute.
Damn it! I was going to say
And
3.
then 2005, 88 kilos and the Absolute. All right, last question. Comes down to Felder and Sanko, I believe, Zach.
No. I have. If I tie him if I get this.
Okay. Sorry, bro. I'm sorry. How many UFC champions were also World Jiu-Jitsu champions at
God.
black belt. But we just need a number.
Like ever in the history of the UFC?
It's less than 10.
Yeah, hold on.
How many UFC champions were also World Jiu-Jitsu champions at black belt? Gilbert Burns was not.
In the history of the UFC?
Got to be UFC champions and also World Jiu-Jitsu champions at black belt. Gilbert Burns, I shouldn't have injected his name into the mix. 3, 2, 1. Paul says 8, DC says 2, and Sanko gets it at 4.
Yes.
Sanko is just taking charge today. Josh Barnett, Fabricio Verdun, BJ Penn, and Murilo Bustamante.
Oh my God.
All right, Sanko.
All right.
I
You know what
had
happens now.
Verdum. I had Verdum and BJ Penn. Forgot about Josh Barnett and then the other guy.
Murilo Bustamante.
Oh, I'm not going to make you spin again because what you got last time was not a punishment at all. And if he lands on it again, we're going to spin again.
No, you can't do that.
I can. I
Danny
can, and I will, and
Cormier.
I have the belt.
We need you to spin.
It's really
on
kind of crazy
Paul, will
that she
you spin
continues
for
to
him?
make me spin. No, I'm going to spin.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm mad about that one.
It was a total
Felt
guess.
confident. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know.
Armando Bustamante.
No way.
No.
Yep.
No.
Mute the mic.
No.
Mute the mic.
That's a-
Just mute
No.
the mic.
No.
Amazing.
That is a reward
Mute the mic.
for you.
Yeah,
Mute the mic.
those are rules.
Mute the microphone.
The wheel
DC
spoke.
gets
Are you
another break.
serious?
The balance on this thing is
Taking
off.
my headset off.
Yeah, the rate
No,
goes up
mute
for
my
DC
mic.
again.
We're rolling right now, so.
Yeah, I lost. Laura talks. I get to not talk. Mute my mic. Right, John?
Yeah, until your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu demo, as you know, we're here in what a lot of people believe is the
No, we don't
birthplace
have to do
of
the demo.
Jiu-Jitsu.
I'm
No,
out.
we're doing the demo. We're doing the demo. We're going to call on RJ Clifford, who is going to be put in some submissions, I believe, by
Can't wait.
Laura Sanko and Paul Felder. Paulie,
Give me your phone.
the Iron Lung,
You want me to go first?
budding Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. Start us off.
Okay, so
It's your pajama wrestling.
as a fighter, obviously a lot of people were always shooting doubles and singles on me, and I don't have a really long reach. We were actually talking about Darce versus Anaconda, and me and you both agreed we have shorter arms. I like the Anaconda too. So if somebody would shoot on me and we sprawl out, a lot of times oh, it's my earpiece. I take this and I would just stuff this in, make this real tight, and I don't worry about locking my arm yet. I just keep the gable grip here, tuck my head, roll without rolling RJ off of the stage, and then slide my bicep right there, and then I would curl in and squeeze.
I like how you call it the gable grip. When you add wrestling into jiu-jitsu, an angel gets its wings.
The gentle art. It always looks so gentle. Sanko, what do you have for us?
Bro,
All right. We're gonna
come on with this.
We're gonna get a little fancy here. I gotta take my shoes off.
You know this. I'm still gonna run too.
Fours, RJ.
Oh, my mic. Mic trouble.
So this is generally off of, I've just
Thanks,
defended a single leg, turn the corner, get the wrist wrap. And what I like to do is I'll actually like bait my leg a little bit, kind of stick it out here. Wrestlers cannot help but grab that damn leg. And then as soon as you can, you figure for it, you come over, and then you've got options. I love options. You've got your choke, you've got you can put lockdown with your feet and get a straight arm bar, or you got your triangle.
Options.
Options. I like options.
Daniel, I know your mic is muted.
like me to,
Will you
Dennis?
still indulge us
Talk
with a demo
for
or
you.
no?
Yeah, Paul, commentate his own.
He feels like
commentate
he
his
should
demo.
serve his time. I mean,
He's taking this so seriously.
I'd really like to see it, but if you want to serve your time, I mean, the decision
Laura,
rests with you.
walk through DC's
Okay,
submission.
I can. I'll commentate your submission.
We have 3 commentators here.
All right.
We should be able to get through it.
So what am I doing?
All right. Like an idiot, RJ. Oh, I thought you were.
RJ
I pulled
decides
guard.
to just
I
lay
pulled guard.
down.
RJ pull guard, which
What'd you
is
do against DC?
terrible idea. DC's gonna pass here. Loves half guard,
Ground and pound.
ground and pound, and RJ's gonna look to defend that at some point with an arm sticking up,
Oh,
which is the perfect opportunity to trap that shoulder. Get a nice deep grip on it, soften up those ribs.
he's going past guard. Oh, he wants. There it is.
There we go, like butter.
Going for the arm triangle.
Oh gosh.
DC don't even.
And then he flattens out And there it is.
Oh, I was waiting for you to just have to go out there for a second,
That
buddy.
was good. That was good.
good.
That was good. That was good. You know.
RJ Clifford, forever a good sport. Check out his fighter bio at suredog.com if you're curious. All right, now it is time for Guess the Submission. Your mic's going to be hot. We need you back. So we're going to guess the submission here.
Are we doing the board?
Miles LaFosse, if you could come on in here and turn on Danny Cormier's mic, we'd appreciate that. So, of course, we're here in Brazil, and really seems only right to get our submission knowledge in check. So we're going to roll some video. You guys are going to guess the submission. And we're going to begin with the ageless Glover Teixeira, circa 2019.
All right,
he was taking on Baby K, Carl Robertson, Brooklyn, New York. Also happened to be our debut on ESPN. Guess the sub. That is not an Ezekiel choke, I don't believe.
No. That's the arm triangle. That's the arm triangle.
Arm triangle.
Yep.
Well done.
That's the arm triangle.
All right, next up we will move along to Paul Craig and the UFC's return to London after the pandemic. It's Paul Craig and Nikita Krylov.
Oh, I already know what this
I mean,
Are we making this too easy for you folks?
Oh, we
I mean,
haven't
I hear
even,
some.
I never even saw the submission.
Right.
Oh, so we're going to go.
I think
Are we supposed to guess before it happens? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I got it.
I know
Gotcha,
it.
gotcha.
Triangle. Triangle.
Yep.
and it's Paul Craig.
Let's see it.
Yeah, right.
This is a pretty good guess.
Oh, there it is. Yep,
God,
yep.
so
Krylov
fast
fell
with
right
that.
in there. Yep, fell in there. Yep, yep.
He was pissed about this one. He's still pissed about this one.
Krylov?
Yeah.
He has to be.
He's doing really well.
Well, you're diving into the dang grounding pound from your feet. You're asking for it.
All right, guys, really time to test your skills now. Gilbert Durinho Burns, 2016, taking on Lucas Sayevsky, who did not make it past round one. What was the submission? No hesitation from the Iron Lung.
I might be wrong, but it's Durinho, so I'm just gonna
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I remember that. He kind of rolls him over to
Yeah.
his back armbar.
Armbar,
Yeah.
yes. I was like,
He rolls him over to his back because he takes him off to his right.
Yeah.
No, but I knew this. I just wanted to see if Paul was going to get it right. He rolls him off to the right with the armbar. No, I actually knew. I just wanted to see if you were going to get it right, Paul.
You just checking on me?
Well,
DC back to his
just
cheating
like that
ways.
one where I was like, Paul got it right this time.
We
Because
do
I-
have a replay of your perpetual wandering eye if you'd like to see it.
I would
Yeah,
love
but
to
I was
see
just
it.
making sure he did it right.
Where is he?
It's unbelievable.
I was like, yeah, he got it right. He got it right. I was like, he got it right.
Get more
Nice
subtle,
job, Paul.
Get more subtle
Good
with
job,
it.
Paul. Good job.
DC, we're not going to give you a point there, man.
Really?
I mean, it's
Mine was already done.
to take it up with the truck. All right, well, next up, of course, a guy maybe known more for his knockouts than submissions in his UFC days, but Shogun, Pride 32. You guys remember? Let's roll tape.
Could be a heel hook too, though, yeah?
It could be, but
Oh no, this is when he cranks it.
Oh. That's the old
so
right
nasty.
There.
The great Kevin Randleman.
The late, great Hall of
Late,
Famer,
great
Kevin the
Kevin
Monster Randleman.
Yup.
All right, guys, Fight Island now. UFC 254, Lauren Murphy welcoming the newcomer Lilia Shakirova to the octagon. First career submission for Lauren Murphy. What was it?
That is a really weird angle.
Is Lauren on top of
Yeah,
it,
I
right?
couldn't tell who's who.
Last call.
Okay. I don't know.
All right, let's see the tape.
There's no setup.
Probably straight ankle lock, isn't it?
Rear naked choke.
Fuck.
Rear choke.
Yeah.
God dang.
There was no setup.
I like this game.
I
because
should
like,
have
there's no cheating.
known.
You gotta get us a little closer.
No.
All right, this one I feel like a lot of you are going to remember. Thiago Moises, Michael Johnson, 2020. Let's see how Moises gets it done. 3, 2.
I actually don't know. Dang it.
All right, let's see it.
It's gonna be heel hook.
Let go. Don't grab.
Yep.
Get your
Oh, I
fingers
was
out
wrong
of the
too
cage.
then.
Straight ankle lock. You both are wrong.
Yep.
Let him know, Saint.
Yeah, and now I remember.
less down.
Pretty sure I called that fight.
Straight ankle up. That's all right. All right, next up we will get to Neil Magny, not necessarily known for his submission game, but he got his first one in 5 years against D-Rod this past November. Do you remember what the choke was? No hesitation from Sanko, who's cleaning up on the show today.
Am I right?
Yeah. In Boston, we call that a DAS, right? Fucking DAS.
Hey, wait. Let me see. Wait. Did you put that thing? Did you put this?
Dars.
Did you put this?
No, I didn't.
That's what you're supposed. That's how you spell Darshow. That is how you spell Darshow. That is. Wait, guys. I would like to really.
When have we ever?
What is that thing called? What is it called?
I don't know. I went to Oklahoma State, John. But I know it belongs there.
Degree in sociology.
Yeah.
I think it's an apostrophe.
Yeah, an apostrophe.
All right.
I should get the point. They shouldn't. They did not spell the submission the right way, John.
I'm giving points to all of you guys.
Oh, my God. You guys.
All right, so 5-5-4. DC trying to pull into a tie. This one comes from Glover Teixeira against Iwan Cutelaba. DC trying to hope for a three-way tie.
I think I'm wrong.
Hold on, no.
3, 2.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if he did an arm triangle or a rear naked.
Yeah.
All right, so Paul and Laura win. I mean,
fight to
technically
the death.
Sanko did miss the timeline there on that last one, but no, hey, Chuck gave you a point.
Right,
Chuck gave you a point, you know.
That's like, bro, you guys are just like letting her win. I don't know what she did. Like,
What, who missed the timeline?
No,
She
I'm
did.
going to give it to Paul Felder.
yeah, she
because
did.
I have
she
to
did
break
miss
the tie.
time. Like,
I
she
have to
missed
break the
time.
tie.
Like,
Okay.
it
Which
is what it
means
is,
that,
and she should spin the wheel.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh, give me that.
Fine.
Get your belt,
Fine.
Paulie.
Oh,
Get
pound
your belt,
drink.
baby.
So a pound drink means you got to finish your beer.
Oh, she's a sore loser. My God.
Hey. And this is because I'm talking about
Terrible
jiu-jitsu.
loser.
For all those out there that say I don't know anything about
That even
jiu-jitsu.
qualifies spinning the wheel.
What now, Daniel?
I mean, what are we doing here?
Why is there so
Spin it
many
again.
big mics?
Daniel
Why are there so
Wanderlei?
many?
It used to be that every time it would land on the shocker, now it's landing on the mic.
Redo.
I did.
Unbelievable. No.
Really?
Capoeira.
Capoeira.
Oh, no.
Capoeira dance. Right here without falling. One on the way. One on the way.
What's the rhythm?
I can't do anything. I can't do this.
Yes. Yes.
If I could, like,
Yes, do that. That's
help
what
me.
you
Help me.
Do a wheel kick.
You gotta
like a
do a
wheel
wheel
kick.
kick in
Get
these
up on
shoes?
your hand
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
lift
yeah.
it and get it.
Help me, Paul. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
like
right,
that.
'cause-
Yeah, like that. Yeah, yes. Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know any capoeira.
Cartwheel.
Gotta do a spinning hook kick.
All right, well, as we're doing our best
terrible.
capoeira impression, I'm sure Johnny Walker would be proud. We're going to
God.
take a closer look. Flyweight Championship, Davison Figueiredo, Brandon Moreno tomorrow night under the lights.
That was terrible.
You didn't even try.
Well, never before in the illustrious 30-year history of the UFC have athletes met 4 times.
These boys are going at it.
Oh, Moreno tagged him.
Oh, Big L.
What a pace this fight is being fought at.
Oh my goodness!
What a fight.
This fight is a majority draw.
When you watch a fight like that, you want to watch that again.
He's under the 10.
Looks like a tap. Brandon Moreno has done it.
Brandon Moreno.
Tijuana, you have a champion. Brandon Moreno is the undisputed UFC flyweight champion. Viva Mexico! Third consecutive meeting between Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo.
Moreno's fighting with some crazy confidence right now. Oh, he hurt him with the right hand.
Figueiredo lands a right hand and a body kick. That's a big right from the Brazilian. Now another one.
Oh, we heard him again.
Oh!
Oh,
my goodness.
Oh, they're slugging it out. And these guys know each other so well. They're two of the very best flyweights of all time. And I can't wait to see the 4th matchup.
All right, so it is the legendary and historic 4th meeting between Davison Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. This has never happened before in UFC history. They are 1-1-1. and we'll see if this indeed is the fourth and final meeting. Daniel, I'm going to start with you on this. Do you know what it is called when athletes meet for a fourth time? You go from a trilogy to a what?
Quadrilogy.
Look at him just, there's actually another word.
Yes, what is it? Because we talked about it on Roundup.
Tetralogy.
Tetralogy, that's right. Hex
So,
too many.
I'll be going tetralogy. I mean, DC can go quadrilogy or whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. I don't
but,
think I got a. I don't think I got a. Oh yeah, I got it.
All right. It does beg the question, though, and this is sort of an interesting exercise. This has never happened before in UFC history, but it doesn't mean that it hasn't been warranted. So, basically, we want to know if a series that went 3 fights in UFC history could have happened a fourth time, which one would you want it to be? And I'm going to start here, and this may not sound objective because Daniel Cormier is my dear friend and my broadcast partner, but I wanted to see DC and Stipe fight for the final time in front of 25,000 people when DC was healthy and could actually get through a training camp. So with all due respect, right, Stipe exacted his revenge and wins the trilogy, right? Anticlimactic for me that third fight happened at the UFC Apex, and I felt like my boy deserved a little bit better. So for me, if I could see a fight again, it would be DC and Stipe for a fourth time.
Well, especially how it played out, too, right? Like, Stipe had to come back with the body shots and all that. Like, the ebb and flow.
Paulie?
For me, I'm going to go old school with this one. And, you know, when I got into MMA, Chuck and Randy were, you know, headlining cards, and they were the baddest light heavyweights on the planet. So I'd like to see that one again if I could go back. And, you know, because at the time I was a big Randy. I was rooting for Randy. And Chuck just had that power, man.
Anyone ever call you Randy? Just RJ, huh?
My dad's Randy, and I'm RJ. If someone called me Randy, I wouldn't. I would like, who are you looking at? I don't know. So how about one that's still a tie? Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard. 1-1-1. Gray Maynard out-wrestled him the first time, tie the second time. Frankie Edgar knocked him out the third time. I understand why they didn't do a third one, because Frankie Edgar went on and Gray Maynard kind of started, that was kind of his downward trend after that. Frankie dropped weight class. So I get why they didn't do a fourth one, but it was a tie. And that was what made Frankie Edgar a legend, was those comebacks against Gray Maynard, just surviving the second time. Since my wife doesn't watch this show, I can say that I named my daughter Frankie after Frankie Edgar. And she can't say no, because she doesn't watch.
DC, what do you have?
I got Conor versus Dustin, right? Just because the first fight, Conor knocks him out. Dustin knocks him out in Abu Dhabi. Then the third fight, broken leg. No, like, finality to it. I want him to fight again, and this may happen, right? There's potential that this could be a fourth fight if and when McGregor gets back. Dustin Poirier seems to want only big fights. This one makes sense because of the way the third fight ended. I mean, the energy in the building was so great for it to end in the way that it did, with Conor on his butt yelling and screaming at Dustin's wife, flipping him off. It was just a mess, right? It would be better if it ended with somebody getting their hand raised due to something happening in the fight.
John had the correct answer, and for all the right reasons, but just for the sake of not repeating him, I'm going to go JDS Cain, and not because there were unanswered questions. I feel like that trilogy, in terms of how it played out, Cain Velasquez came out on top. But in terms of sentimentality, I feel like we never got to see the next evolution of Cain. And JDS, if you remember, went on to beat Stipe, so he was still on the uptick. It was an iconic trilogy for the time, and I think in general, I wish Cain could have fought more and we could have seen more from him.
Yeah.
So good.
No, that's well put. All right, I want to get into this fourth meeting between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno a little bit. DC, obviously, you have been involved in a lot of rematches and series. Paul, you fought Edson Barboza twice, but there was major separation between those two meetings. You had the Derek Lewis fight in the middle of that Stipe series, right? But I know by the end, like, you were sick of Stipe. Like, this is a real challenge.
You get tired of it. I mean, you get tired of seeing the same guy over and over again, especially when you're fighting the same person for an extended period of time. Like you said, Stipe and I started in 18. We went all the way to 20, right? So 2 years, one guy, just like these two. They've been fighting each other for almost 3 years now. You get tired of them, especially if that person does wear on your personality. Brandon Moreno doesn't like Deiveson Figueiredo, and Deiveson Figueiredo understands that he can press his buttons. So that annoyance makes getting through training camp harder than it is. And as we spoke about on many occasions, I talked to Brandon about this yesterday, the change in his training camp. He is dealing with a lot heading into this fight. And it's a big moment to be out here in Brazil fighting Deiveson Figueiredo, but he does question the relationship Deiveson has with the fans. He doesn't know if it's going to be as pro a crowd as many expect it to be because of who Deiveson Figueiredo is.
And I think, for me, you know, having only faced somebody twice in Edson, I can tell you that from fighting them once and you lose that fight and gearing up for the rematch, there's a lot of anxiety that's involved in it too, because you've been there, you've felt them, especially if they've beaten you and you're trying to come back and get that win. You know how they hit, you know the power and the speed that they possess, and you start questioning your own self and your own confidence in, well, they got me before, what's going to change now? Even if it was a close fight, and for me, it was a pretty close fight, the first one, and then I was having nightmares about it. I was having anxiety. I would call my mom about it. I just kept picturing me getting spinning hook kicked and all the bad stuff. So for Figueiredo, you think about that rear naked choke. For Moreno, you think about how many times you've been knocked down. And for both guys, it's a lot of anxiety when you're facing somebody over and over. At least when you're fighting somebody new, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
They've shared the octagon for nearly an hour. The two of them. That is crazy to think about. And I feel like for Brandon, having that Kai Kara France fight in the mix of these is helpful for him, right? It broke up the constantly focusing on Deiveson Figueiredo. I was there in Kansas City when he was not changing his game, but adding things to his game, tweaking little things here and there. And you saw that play out in the Kai Kara France performance. And I'm interested to see if those continue into this or not. But point being, he's had that refresher. He's had someone else to think about for a while, where Deiveson hasn't.
My whole thing was this in regards to, they're all title fights, right? So I fought 3 guys 7 times in title fights. And it almost feels like the guy that lost, it's easier to be motivated. Because when you fight a John Jones and he beats me in the fight, all I could think about for the next year was fighting John Jones again and getting better to the point that I could beat him. Stipe, the same case. Anthony Johnson, you get a bit lax. That's why for Brandon Moreno, he always seems so motivated. Because in fight 1, no losing a point, he lost. He won fight 2, lost fight 3, right? So in reality, over the course of 15 rounds or 12 rounds, Deiveson Figueiredo has won the majority of those rounds. So Brandon Moreno is easily motivated. So honestly, the 4th fight, while Moreno seems annoyed, I believe he's in a better position as the guy that's lost the majority of those rounds, because Deiveson has won most of those rounds against Brandon Moreno. So it's him going, I got to beat this guy again.
Yeah.
Because even though it was a draw, he did win the fight if he doesn't lose that point.
I do want to quickly ask you, Brandon Moreno left the Entrim gym several years ago, and his search was very thorough for a new head coach, right? He landed on James Krause, who obviously is no longer in the picture. Seems as though they've settled on the General Saif Saud, at least for the corner, if not for training camps thereafter. But gotta think this is a big factor for Brandon, because he's so entrusted in James, and that voice isn't there.
Yeah, listen, the relationship that they formed in Kansas City was evident, and it wasn't just Brandon. It was his teammates that came with him. It was his coaches that came with him, and we had like a whole crew in the gym for a long time. And to your point, the trust that they built up was phenomenal. I know, and Brandon started this camp in Kansas City very briefly. They laid out the game plan. They watched the film together. So I feel like he at least has the roadmap that he feels comfortable with, but it's got to be tough to be changing the voice that you hear, because James has a very specific way of cornering.
It's different too, because Saif is more intense. Krause is always kind of patient with him. But it was also this, right? When you talk to people that were training with James Krause, it becomes a bit of a jiu-jitsu mentality where everybody's so forged in the word, right? The word becomes almost the Bible in terms of what he's saying to his athletes. That's why, for me, when that's gone, it has to play more of a factor than Brandon's even putting on to us. Because for as great as Saif is, it's not that voice that you are trained to believe is the word of the gospel. And we have heard so many people talk about James in that way, and because of the successes that he was having, how could you question that approach? The reality is that voice isn't there anymore. That's going to play a part on Brandon Moreno, even if he won't admit it.
Well, I think after the fact, I think is when we'll get the honest truth out of him, win or lose, right? I mean, even if you win, he might be like, listen, this was rough for me to get through, but right now you can tell he's putting on the damn game face. He's focused on winning this fight no matter what the circumstances are. He's a tough-ass fighter. He's not going to let it bother him, but
Mexican fight.
We'll know for sure if it really,
Blood and guts warrior.
Good to have you all with us this morning. It is the UFC 283 official weigh-in show. John Anglorosenko, Paul Felder, Daniel Cormier live in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And they're telling me this is your favorite segment. You better. In Boston, we call it you had better, right?
You better.
All right, so basically coaching advice for UFC 283. I'm going to trot out a name, and essentially this fighter better do what in order to get their hand raised. So you're not all going to answer each question. We're going to start with the esteemed Laura Sanko. So Glover Teixeira, you better.
Glover Teixeira, first of all, you better soak in this moment and appreciate what you have accomplished as a light heavyweight legend of the game. And you better focus on that because he's got a young buck who's looking to take your head off. So you got to stay defensively sound, particularly in the pocket, because Jamal Hill will crack you on the way out of the pocket. Just stay safe. And DC, that.
Don't go crazy. I'm trying to tell you, I got it.
Effing whistle.
John,
what's this prop?
John, if she goes too crazy, I hit her with the. Hey, God,
There's a video on YouTube that keeps popping up, and the title is DC humiliates Laura Sanko, and it's you blowing the whistle. No, you can't. It's okay.
Glover Teixeira, you better get takedowns, my friend. You better get takedowns if you want to win this fight, because you can. All right, takedowns early. As the fight progresses, stand with him. But if you want to win, you've got to drain the gas tank of Jamal Hill early. He possesses too much power in those early rounds.
All right, we're going to get to Jamal Hill, and it is remarkable, the 40-hour gap, right, between weigh-in and main event. Paulie experienced that even more so in New Zealand. But Jamal Hill, you better put down the blunt. No, Jamal Hill, you better. I'm just kidding. Jamal Hill, you better what?
Jamal Hill, you better use that jab.
Paul does this. He just keeps it short.
Listen, it's you better. Right?
Yeah.
This isn't a monologue game.
I was about to whistle you because I hate the fact that you change your voice like that. You went from Jamal Hill to you better. You went from like mean to sexy. Like you got to get that.
He's
shit
an
together,
actor.
man.
He can shape shift like that.
Diversifying.
He doesn't get paid per word. Laura Sanko, Jamal Hill, you better what?
All right, listen, Jamal Hill, you have got to keep your back off the fence because Glover Teixeira.
You better. Not you have got. You better.
Jamal, like that, you better?
Yeah, you better.
You better. Jamal Hill, you better.
Yeah.
Keep your back off the fence because Glover Teixeira's best takedowns are double legs off the fence. Keep your back off the fence, use the jab, stay long.
That's great.
All right, next up is going to be Deiveson Figueiredo, champ.
Deiveson Figueiredo, you better move your head and you better stay at distance just like you did last time. Don't rush. Brandon Moreno has shown this uncanny ability to hurt you. You cannot play in the fire with this young man. Stay at your range. Be patient. You have shown that you can beat him in that type of fight.
Paulie, Deiveson Figueiredo.
Deiveson Figueiredo.
I just can't with him.
Stay patient.
You better.
Stay patient.
Yes, you better, man.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
All right, we're going to move on to
That's how real men whistle.
the assassin baby, Brandon Moreno.
Brandon Moreno, you got to stay locked in.
I need an air horn.
Oh, my God.
You did it. I mean.
Oh, Brandon Moreno, you better.
Yeah.
Got my own self. You better stay locked in. Fight with the patience of the last fight, but at times recognize that you got to put the foot on the gas because that's what cost you in fight number 3. He fought too patient in Anaheim.
Brandon Moreno, you better make Deiveson Figueiredo work in this fight. You got to create scrambles that are beneficial to you at the right time. Use the offensive wrestling, use the counter wrestling, make Deiveson Figueiredo tired.
Brandon Moreno, you better not have any more daughters, right? I mean, 3 is enough. All right, Gilbert Durinho Burns, you better what?
Gilbert Durinho Burns, you better wrestle. Take him down. Use your pressure. Use your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's talked a lot about the wrestling, not just the grappling, but getting it there. All right, Lauren Murphy, Laura Sanko. Lauren Murphy, you better what?
Lauren Murphy, you got to go in there with the belief that you are one of the
You what?
You better go in there with the belief that you belong here. You are one of the best flyweights in the world, and you have what it takes to beat these women and get that win. It's about belief for Lauren Murphy because she is tough as nails.
Hey, you're as good as they come. You just don't follow rules. Your advice is great. Just follow the rules.
Thank you.
I love that fight. I think Andrade could bring out the best in Lauren
not
Murphy.
Paul Craig. You got don't switch on me. You told me Shogun.
Hey,
She said that in my ear.
Shogun Hua.
Okay, thank you, John.
My man.
Shogun, you better be Shogun, man. Live in this. Enjoy it, bro. Because guess what? The result really don't matter. We're all here to watch Shogun Hua make the walk one more time. So just enjoy yourself. You better enjoy yourself. Go out there and do what Shogun Rua does. And we will all applaud you on the way in, and we'll all applaud you on the way out.
Nicely done. All right, finally, we have Paul on Paul crime here. Paul Craig. You better what?
Paul Craig. Better use your striking to set up your grappling.
I remember calling our producer,
Short and
Zach
sweet.
Candido,
You're
about
leaving
this
him hanging.
Paul Craig pronunciation, right? Can't say Craig, right?
Oh, really?
But when I said to Candido, can we go Paul Craig? He's like, absolutely fucking no. It's Paul Craig if you want, but I can't, like, we're having fun with it today, but tomorrow night it's not going to be.
It can't be
Paul Craig!
Krieg.
Craig.
Paul Krieg. It's Paul Krieg.
Paul Craig.
All right. We are very excited, obviously, to have the international flair come back in 2023. Of course, Perth and London, but we are here in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Take a look.
It is one of the biggest nights of the year in sports here in beautiful Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The world-famous Octagon has returned, and this time with a main event that shapes up as one for the ages.
Brazil, we've missed you. Yeah, it's time to celebrate. UFC in Rio, mi familia y amigos. UFC in Rio. Welcome back. UFC in Rio, mi familia y amigos. UFC in Rio. Welcome back. We back. Tell them that we here. We back in Brazil, first time in 3 years. Back filling up stadiums, feeling the adrenaline, the roar from the crowd. Rio, Rio, stand up, get loud. The men and the women, this is paradise, it's an incredible feeling. Blue skies, the palm trees, see the mountains swimming. I see the water
You can't, she's not through with it.
Yeah, I wish you was here too. Figueiredo versus Moreno, the baby assassin versus the flyweight king. Yeah, it's time for some action. It's only right. We return with a loaded card. Why? Because we in Brazil, the mecca for mixed martial arts, a place of legends. Amanda Nunes, Anderson Silva, the Nogueira brothers, Jose Aldo, Shogun. Let's get it. So get up out of your seat. Everybody react. UFC, Rio de Janeiro, we back. Welcome back, yeah. It's been too long, yeah. Brazil, we've missed you. Yeah, it's time to celebrate. UFC in Rio, mi familia y amigos. UFC in Rio. Hey, welcome back. UFC in Rio, mi familia y amigos. UFC in Rio. Hey, welcome back.
In the drink.
I mean, how about that custom UFC hip-hop track?
That's
We could run to
nice.
that
I
all
love
day. As many of you know, we are celebrating 30 years with our Changing the Game Since 1993 campaign, a year-long celebration that will include live events, enhanced fan activations, an immersive digital hub, dedicated social content, and so much more. The campaign highlights UFC's groundbreaking success and unrivaled history over the past 30 years. All right, so the native drink here is the caipirinha. And I guess they say beer before liquor, never sicker, but we're unfazed today. This is Brazil's national cocktail, made from cachaça, which is the alcohol, sugar, and lime.
Is he qualified to be doing this?
The main liquor, cachaça, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Caipirinha.
Cachaça distilled from sugar cane. Pretty much tastes like rum, I guess. But yeah, he's doing it for us on the rocks with lime and sugar, and gonna catch a nice little buzz. Paul Felder is working his way back from the sanitarios, the water closet.
I heard alcohol in it.
And we are going to look at some more Brazilian MMA history as we continue to broadcast live from this MMA Mecca. This was a really difficult exercise to come up with our top 5 greatest Brazilian mixed martial arts athletes of all time. A lot of names, obviously, on the cutting room floor, DC, but give us your top 5 if you would.
Yeah. At number 5, I had a tie. I had Glover Teixeira and Amanda Nunes at number 5 for me. I thought that what Amanda has done has been tremendous, and I think Glover Teixeira is building a resume that puts him in line with the rest of these Brazilian greats. At number 4, I got Shogun Rua, because Shogun Rua, for all that we spoke about on the show, is Shogun. Big Nog at number 3, one of the greatest fighters and UFC heavyweights. Jose Aldo at number 2, and number 1, Anderson Silva as the greatest Brazilian mixed martial arts fighter of all time.
I got a lot of work to do tonight. I'm gonna be lathered if I take down this caipirinha.
I got That was a drink of pure alcohol.
All right,
I'm
so
going to drink this and still go run and swim, John. So let's get on it.
full disclosure, I forgot about Amanda Nunes. I was sort of focused on the men. So honorable mention, Amanda Nunes, Vanderlei Silva, Shogun Rua, and Rickson Gracie, right? Number 5 for me, Vitor Belfort. Some of my most memorable moments here in Brazil took place in 2013. Say what you want about the TRT era in the UFC, but Joe Rogan and I both agree Vitor Belfort circa 2013, most dangerous fighter in UFC history. Number 4, Royce Gracie. He could fall anywhere in this top 5. I think his case is sort of self-explanatory. The legend Minotauro, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. I remember when he got his arm broken by Frank Mir in Toronto, and I'm getting on an elevator, and Minotauro sticks out his other fucking arm to save me from getting jammed by just all class, great fighter.
When he reached out
Yeah, he can be a bit slow. Even today,
my brother.
When you see him in the hotel and everything, he's still like moving in slow motion. But he's the man, though.
Yeah,
Like, he's the man.
And I, as an identical twin myself, I mean, got to give him a nod. Number 2 is Anderson Silva, and for me, number 1 is the king of Rio de Janeiro, Jose Aldo. I know you can sort of split hairs here, but Jose Aldo, number 1 for me, and that brings us to our second.
It's impossible to make this list, to be honest with you. I had the hardest time with this. At number 5, I did not forget about the women. I have Amanda Nunes.
Oh, my God.
Obvious reason, greatest female fighter of all time. Vitor Belfort, for all the reasons that you said, John, I feel like he kind of gets overlooked in these lists, but has quite a few accolades and so many special moments.
I mean, do you need to talk while Senko's talking?
Right.
Like,
I'm just asking him a question.
all right, I'm sorry.
Another video is going to pop up on YouTube. DC disrespects Laura Sanko again.
I'm not disrespectful to you.
A little
I
bit.
love you, Laura.
I love you too. I love you too. All right, number 3, Jose Aldo, the king of Rio. 7 title defenses. I mean, I don't remember how long it was that he didn't take a loss, but it was absolutely insane. It was an eternity. Number 2, Anderson Silva. I mean, 16-fight win streak, all the title defenses. And I put Royce Gracie number 1.
Wait, what?
Because, listen, the man beat 4 people in one night.
What? So did Mark Holman, and so did
He started this
Mark
whole
Kerr,
thing.
and all these other dudes. They all beat 4 people in one night.
We're talking about the greatest mixed martial artist. I'm sorry, Royce Gracie's on there.
Paul, you got Trinaldo and Barboza, 5 and 4.
I should, right? Yeah. I should just have all the guys I fought. I didn't actually purposely do this in any particular order, but I will read them as I had written them to the producers.
Nunes, number 3.
Number 5, I'm throwing two Bronx in there, Charles Oliveira. I just think in this day and age, the fact that he did what he did in the lightweight division and the career that he has puts him on the list for me. And I think
he has 1 title fight, man.
Is this your list or my list?
But I'm talking about they got dudes on the list with 20 title fights, Anderson Silva.
Charles Oliveira, number 5. Royce Gracie, number 4. Even though you disrespect and absolutely hate the absolute legend who started the UFC, we wouldn't have him without him. But yeah, why not put him on the list? 3, Amanda Nunes, who I think is obviously deserving on this list. Number 2, King of Rio, Jose Aldo. And number 1, Anderson Silva, man. I mean, in my time of watching the UFC, he was just unbeatable for the longest time.
I want to look at yours again. I'm curious what your issue is with Amanda Nunes. I believe on your national platform on ESPN, you called her one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all
she is
time.
on there. She is on there, just not at number 3. Okay. Right? That's it. Mine. Yeah, I had her on my list. She's just not at number 3. And I mean, obviously, I didn't have Royce Gracie because, I mean, you got guys on this list that have a ton of, and I definitely didn't have Charles Oliveira. He had 1 title fight.
Yeah. All right.
Or 2.
All right. Well,
Paul put him on the list. I don't know. Paul's tripping, man.
I feel like we all
a little
did pretty
inconsistent
good.
there, but yeah, I mean, I didn't even put her. I mean, I love Amanda. I feel off. I didn't.
Why
even
didn't you
include
put her on? What do you have against Amanda?
No, nothing. I mean, I'm not trying to be sexist. No, I was just focusing on the men. You know, I wasn't sort of thinking. I mean, dude,
You
Jessica
threw the belt down?
Andrade deserves some love too.
Sure.
I never won one, so why am I going to fake it
No,
now?
take the belt. This belt's more
Why are you
important than any of our
disrespecting
belts.
the belt like that right now?
The
Have
Wayne
you
belt is
guys
better.
been to a Brazilian steakhouse since you've been here?
Yeah, we had a Brazilian steak last night in Paul.
Well,
Was
not,
it like
not
a
this
true
trip. Not
churrascaria?
this trip.
Like Fogo de Chao, one of those, you know?
Fogo de Chao.
All right. Well, we all love a meat sweater too, so let's hear what some of the fighters have to say about some of their dining experiences here in Brazil.
The churrascaria, what is your favorite food to eat?
Churrasco. At churrascaria, my favorite food to eat is picanha.
A carne, a picanha.
Cupim assado com açaí, melhor açaí de Belém do Pará.
I like to eat goat meat. Well done. Very well done. Now, Bert.
Oh, in a Brazilian steakhouse, I love churrasco. Yeah, I had the opportunity to eat churrasco from Brazil before, last November. Man, churrasco is delicious.
I've never been to a Brazilian steakhouse. Guys, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm cheap.
I like the garlic pork. It's so juicy.
Parmesan pork is really good.
I don't know what the name of the meat is, but it's like when they like slice it. I mean, it's all the meat they have, but I don't know the name of it. I don't know.
I like skirt steak. I like more than picanha, but skirt steak is the best for me.
Take it.
I remember the first time I went to a Brazilian steakhouse and just fucking meat sweats all night long.
Yeah.
DC, what's your favorite?
The best sweats. I like
The best sweats are the meat sweats.
I like picanha, and I like the feijoada, the beans with the meat, the black beans with the meat over the rice. I love the feijoada, and I love the picanha.
Apparently a place right next door that Ian was telling us we got to go to
Really?
for that. Yeah.
Man, let's go.
Paulie, what do you have? Big red meat guy?
Yeah, I mean, they do steak so right. I mean, every time I'm over here, the steak, even the cheeseburgers, unbelievable. The cheeseburger we had at the restaurant down the street was bomb. They cook things right. They don't overcook the meat here, and I love that.
Live look at Zada Farn weighing in.
Looks
She
like
has
she's
not
struggling.
fought since about with Felicia Spencer about 3 years ago. Has had some scale weight issues in the past.
She's trying to smile through it.
146 pounds for Zara Fern,
Man.
146 libras.
All right, 146 pounds, so she makes weight. Sanko, real quick, talk to me about Brazilian steakhouse.
I mean, does it have to be at a steakhouse or just Brazilian food
Brazilian
in general?
food's fine.
I mean, I was absolutely pounding that pound of cashew this morning. I love that
Yeah.
stuff.
What is it?
The little cheese bread rolls. I
Oh,
had like
yeah,
11
they're
this morning.
Oh man, we
and
had.
the acai.
I haven't had any cheese bread
And
since
what was
I've
that
been
stuff
here.
we had
Oh, and
last night? It was like fried with the meat inside of it. That was good.
Oh, croquettes. They were like
Oh,
beef
those were
croquettes.
really
yeah.
good.
I'm kind of a steak snob, so I don't really.
You don't like steaks? You gotta get a
I
steak.
live on
Steak
a
stop, and you're not
ranch.
going to have it
seriously.
here?
Here
Might
it's
be.
tremendous. No, they
Might be.
Laura,
have
I'm
the
telling
perfect
you.
amount of salt and everything.
They don't fuck
I mean,
around
their
with it.
steak, they don't mess around with the steak.
It's in my
We
backyard.
left thoroughly. We enjoyed it yesterday.
They don't
We
even
thoroughly
ask you
enjoyed
how
it.
you want to cook because
They
gonna
know
cook
it's
it
gonna
the right way.
It's gonna be perfect.
I want to get into this main event a little bit.
I'm
Go
with
over
them
to
on
Shara
that.
and Jamal Hill. And Paul, I'm going to start with you. Now, DC sort of alluded to the fact that some people out there, pundits, experts, or otherwise, suggest that maybe this fight is happening a little bit too soon for Jamal Hill. Now, I don't necessarily subscribe to that line of thinking. I would have liked him to have a little bit more time to prepare.
Yeah.
But you obviously share a manager. You're sort of embedded with the camp a little bit.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Jamal Hill in terms of when this opportunity is happening for him?
You know, these opportunities never pan out exactly how you want them to, right? These kind of opportunities are something you've got to seize when the moment and the call comes. And I think he had no hesitation. He was excited when he got it. He immediately did all the things that he needed to do to prepare, bringing in Chef Larios, getting the nutritionist there to make sure that the weight cut was smooth and that he was going to have all the nutrition that he had for a 5-round fight. From everything I've heard, the training has been fantastic. He's confident that we've seen when we interviewed him. I do think maybe it's a tad early, but it doesn't matter, right? We say that about a lot of things, and then we could be talking to him as the champion on Saturday night. So I think he's in the right place, and I think he approached it the right way. And that's all you can do when you get an opportunity like fighting for the belt.
The confidence is the key, right? And this guy has been knocking people out left, right, and center. He knows what that feels like. He knows what it feels like to go out there and just finish guys. What he did to Johnny Walker was so nasty. And I'll say this, like when he was on Contender Series, I don't know that I fully appreciated the technique that Jamal Hill had in his striking. I don't think I saw it then. And maybe it was an evolution or maybe I was just missing it. But the guy, when you watch his film now, his eyes, his ability to see things in the pocket, to hit and not be hit, his footwork, so underrated and very impressive. Yes.
He's not just throwing.
No.
He's not just throwing and hoping that it lands. It might look like that at times, but he knows what he's doing, man. He's setting you up, and when he lands, he can put you out. He hit Johnny Walker on the forehead. He literally hit him on the forehead, and he
Knocked
felt
him
like,
stiff.
like he lumbered, like a tall tree that just went down. The kid is tremendously talented, but I think that speaks to what John said earlier. A high-level athlete. You take a high-level athlete like this, a guy that can play basketball, baseball, football, You teach him the sport. A guy falls in love with the sport. He's committed to the sport, and it's all accelerated. It doesn't happen at the same pace as the normal guy. You put a guy like Jamal Hill in there, and you find yourself in these situations. But the only way people have an opportunity to question if it's too early is if you've done spectacular things to put yourself in a position to have the opportunity too early. So it really is a credit to Jamal Hill and all that he's done.
And there are a lot of light heavyweights that have power. They don't all have the death touch. Touches you, you go to sleep. Glover Teixeira's 43 years old. Now, obviously you competed and excelled at an advanced age, but he didn't have the back issues necessarily that you have, right? But based upon the conversation in our fighter meeting, you can argue that this is a better version than the 33-year-old in terms of the commitment and everything else.
He's better. He's a much better fighter. And I'm telling you, like, you and I spoke, we talked about this, with Glover. I said, even when I was fighting, you were always on the radar because you were so good, but you fought with a pattern. You did things, right hand, left hook, shot. Right hand, left hook, shot. He doesn't do that anymore. He said he's changed his stance. He's not as forward anymore. He's more back in his stance. He's more patient.
Learned that from you, by the way.
He knows so many different, he's done so many different things to improve himself. And it shows in the octagon. And even in the fight with Yuri Prochazka, he was winning. He was going to finish Yuri Prochazka on the feet at the end. He could not come within 2 feet of him in the first round. He was too slow. Yuri was too athletic. But by the time he had grinded him out and worn him down, he could not miss him. That's what makes Glover Teixeira so special.
To your point, to evolve this late in the game is incredibly impressive. And I think part of it is the people that he has drawn around himself. I think having Alex Pereira around has given new life to his game. You watch their training footage and the embedded and the countdown, and you can see Glover being even more excited about being in this game at this latest stage. But to your point, DC, to go from a guy who was somewhat what people would call predictable in the way that he would approach a fight, to add wrinkles at 43 is incredibly impressive.
Paulie, why are you like pounding water? Like, aren't we trying to catch a buzz on live TV?
I'm pounding water, but I'm also pounding. I'm done the beer, and I'm about to be done the Caprini.
Yeah, Paul's got it going on.
All right, let's get another Sherpa for Paul Felder at whatever temperature.
I like to, you guys know this. I enjoy a drink.
No, it's in your blood.
I'm retired now,
It's in your blood. All right, so we've obviously been main event, co-main event heavy. We have 15 fights this card has held together. God help us with 30 athletes to prepare. But I need one fight to watch, and we'll start with Paul, and we'll go around the horn, but essentially a fight that maybe is a little bit under the radar.
Okay.
One fight to watch for you, Paulie, at UFC 283.
I think Terrence McKinney and Ishmael is going to be a fantastic fight. I think both guys are fantastic on the ground. They both have great grappling and wrestling, and they both are willing to strike and trade in the boxing. Ishmael with his boxing. Terrence McKinney, just explosiveness and brings a ferocity and a pace. But I'm curious to see if Bonfim can stifle that and get it into the second round. We haven't seen Terrence McKinney in the UFC yet go into the second round. Even in his career, we have barely seen him go into the second round. So I'm curious to see if one of the Bonfim brothers can slow him down and pace him and be patient. I think that's going to be a bananas fight.
The only guy to withstand that was Drew Dober, and he won the fight, right? So for me, it's going to be Gabriel Bonfim and Mounir Lazzez.
That's a great fight.
These two, man, two phenomenal strikers. And when I look at Bonfim, he's so talented, well-rounded, so skilled. And for Lazzez, this is a guy that has matured to the point now that he can really start to become a factor in this division. That's the one that I've got my eyes on.
You took mine, so I'm going to have to pivot. But that is going to be an absolutely no, it's fine. An absolutely fantastic fight. Abdurakhimov versus Almeida. To your point earlier, it could become a grind. So in that way, it's like, why is Laura saying this right now? But I think I'm just so high on Jailton Almeida.
You're high?
I'm buzzed, but not high.
John's like, put me in.
Someone is.
I'm dropping beer, dropping liquor.
I'm just so high on Jailton Almeida that I'm excited to watch him fight.
My fight to watch is actually, and I could go in any direction, but I'm going to say Lauren Murphy and Jessica Andrade, because too little has been made of what Lauren Murphy did against Miesha Tate her last time out at 38 years of age, without her new coach, Sean Madden, who will be here in her corner this time around. And obviously, Jessica Andrade is hell on wheels. I really hope she gets into the Hall of Fame. I'm going to champion that cause until she gets in. So that fight jumps off the main card for me and certainly hasn't gotten as much attention as the other major fights. Could also have said Shogun Rua versus Ihor Potieria. We got to give Shogun Rua some love. Let's look back at a career retrospective for the Hall of Famer, Mauricio Shogun Rua.
Eu tenho orgulho do que eu fiz no esporte.
As original of a mixed martial arts fighter as you can get, Mauricio Shogun Rua is a Pride Grand Prix champion at middleweight years ago, a UFC champion in 2010.
Eu fazia porque amava, então sou muito grato a Deus. Eu acho que eu dei tudo que eu pude e estou falando no momento que eu acho certo. E é aquela sensação de dever cumprido.
You know, there's so many words to use to describe Shogun. Pioneer, legend, trailblazer, champion.
Oh, Shogun's with the goal! Shogun with the big head on this. It is all over!
No doubt he was the best light heavyweight in the world at that time.
Sou grato aos meus fãs do mundo todo e para mim os meus fãs sempre foi o meu maior combustível. Então, obrigado aos meus fãs do mundo inteiro.
I need this one.
I mean,
You do.
there are a lot of athletes in sport that are known by one name, right?
Yeah.
Nomar, Shogun, right? So we got some Shogun trivia for you guys today. He's an absolute legend, and this will be his final walk, right? He said 2 more fights, Ovince St. Preux in this one. All right, whiteboards are ready. What city is Shogun Rua from?
I can't spell it.
That's okay. I know
Well,
you
according
can
to
say
DC,
it.
you have to have the apostrophe and you have to have the correct capitalization.
Oh, shit.
All right, flip your cards. You're not getting
I
these
was
answers
Curitiba.
from me. We
It was
actually
Curitiba.
have. Hang on. We got
Oh, I
Shogun.
put Sao Paulo.
We got
I got it
Shogun.
wrong.
Shogun's going to tell you. Here he is.
I'm from Curitiba, Brazil.
What did you even?
That's
What is
not
that?
Curitiba.
What is that?
Curitiba.
Yeah, Curitiba.
Circle gets a square. You get
Hey,
the point.
hey,
Absolutely.
listen. You arts didn't teach me how to spell. You know what I mean?
All right. Next question. What is a
Wait. Sorry, hold on.
What is a Shogun? You can use your hand.
Oh, my God. I have no idea what that is.
I know what it is, and I don't have a freaking eraser.
What is a Shogun? Couple acceptable answers here, ladies and gentlemen. What is a Shogun? Flip the script. Samurai warrior, it's a gun. Japanese warrior. Shogun, what do you got?
Shogun is the biggest samurai in Japan.
Oh.
Yep,
I don't know.
Danko and Felder get the point.
Yeah, why didn't I get it, Zach?
No, he did. He thought
Oh,
it.
I thought you said I didn't get it.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Is this
Who
mine?
did Shogun Rua famously KO by soccer kicks? Pride total elimination, April of 2005.
I know this one.
This is what made me fall in love with MMA.
It is not Ricardo Arona, is it? Let's hear from Shogun.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Quinton Rampage Jackson.
I love how he says
I
it.
did too.
I love
Quinton
it. Hompage.
Quinton Rampage.
All right,
Quinton
3
Rampage.
for Sanko, 2 for Felder, 1 for DC. All right, next up, as some of you know, Shogun lost to Mark Coleman at Pride 31. But which UFC pay-per-view on which did he avenge that loss to Coleman? January 2009, right? UFC 100 happened that summer. So January 09, main event, Rich Franklin, Dan Henderson. What was the numbered pay-per-view? I think Shogun Rua probably knows the answer.
Complete guess.
I just try.
He just said that.
All right, let's see Shogun.
UFC 93.
I tried to give you the hint that 100. I probably screwed you up.
Oh, yeah.
I was saying
got
100 happened in July, so you circle back a few.
Oh,
I was trying
my
to give you a little
God.
hint.
Did you know that, really?
Paul, do that.
All right.
Jeez.
How many black belts does Shogun Rua hold, and for which martial arts?
Oh, my God.
And as you guys mull that over, I can tell you that the former UFC light heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira is making his way to the interview zone and will join us shortly. But how many black belts does Shogun Rua hold, and for which martial arts? All right, let's hear from Shogun.
I have 2 black belts in Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu.
There it is.
Jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu.
All right, next question. Who did Shogun Rua defeat to become the UFC light heavyweight champion?
I know that one.
Montreal, Canada, maybe?
5,
Oh,
4,
I got it.
3, 2.
I remember now.
Yeah.
Somebody gave Laura the answer. You literally had no clue.
No, I did.
Lyoto
I
Machida.
couldn't.
Yep. All right.
It was a rematch. I was about to give you a hint.
A lot
You
of
looked
people
so
believe
one,
Shogun
he
Rua
won
will
the first
eventually get into the Pioneers wing of the UFC Hall of Fame. But he's already in the Hall of Fame, at least for his fight against which man, and you get a bonus point if you can name the number of that pay-per-view event. Shogun's fight that is in the Hall of Fame. What
Oh my
event
God.
and
I
who is
know
the
this.
opponent?
It was in
I don't
San
know that. I
Jose.
don't know the event.
2011.
Wait, if I give a couple facts, let me give a couple facts. Hopefully I can steal some points here.
No.
No. You get to make up points.
2 points available. Let's see.
I only know. I have no idea what the event was.
Look. But look, first time it was a 5-round
Dan
main event, no
Henderson
title.
and
Yes, I do
UFC
remember that.
139.
You're right there.
Hey, is there any way I can get an extra point for that?
I don't think so, Dan. You have 8 belts at home. I think you'll be okay. You have 8 fucking belts at home. You'll be fine. All right.
Oh, hey, hold up.
Final question. And again, it seems like a Sanko-Felder heat. Shogun has one heavyweight win against another UFC Hall of Famer. It took place under the Pride banner. Who'd he beat? All right. We're scrapping
doing
that
that
one.
one?
All right. How well do you know Shogun? Not including tomorrow night's bout. Shogun has had 41 fights, so I like this one. How many weigh-ins has he had? So trying to figure out how many nights on which did he compete more than once. Closest wins. Can go over, can go under. So obviously he has not weighed in 41 times. It's less than that. How many times do you think he fought twice or more on one night? 5, 4, 3, 2. Shogun.
I have 39 weigh-ins.
Unbelievable. So I guessed 38 last night. I was one off. You guys 39. Sanko and Felder
Lucky
nail it.
guess.
So
Paul and Laura
I
fight
gave
to
the
the
last
death.
tiebreaker to Felder, so I'm going to give this one to Laura Sanko. Who would you like
very
to spin the
much.
wheel?
I would like you to spin the wheel.
Outstanding. Hope I don't have to do like a.
Hopefully he's got to do some shots.
Is a butter
I'll
sandwich
do a
up
shot.
there?
Fucking scarred me with that
Butter
Irish
sandwich.
gold, honestly.
And that's
I just don't want to have to do the
butter.
capoeira dance.
You just threw on a PB.
I think I'm destined for the shocker, maybe. Oh, I don't want to fucking dance, man. I'll show you.
Yes.
Capoeira.
Someone else will look
Love the effort.
That is way
Love
better
the
than me.
effort.
That's about as effective as that,
That is good.
Love the effort. Love the effort.
All right.
That was
Oh
way
my
better
God.
than me.
Is that capoeira? No.
Yeah.
That is-
Or Savat. I don't know. That's another one of those martial
That was
arts.
break dancing. That was break dancing.
Had that. I was
The
like,
what?
what are these people?
And wear
So-
shoes.
Real quick in terms of Shogun's legacy, right? So Georges St. Pierre's the king of Montreal, but I have said repeatedly the loudest I've ever heard a mixed martial arts crowd was at UFC 113 in Montreal when he knocked out Lyoto Machida. We're doing MMA live at UFC 113 up from the nosebleeds. I've never experienced a fight atmosphere like that. To me, I'll always think of Shogun for that win. You know, first title defense came against John Jones. But what is his lasting legacy for you, champ?
Just a guy that fought anyone, anytime. And like I said, you know, we watched him when he was still great, but his greatest was before he got into the UFC's octagon. But to say that he wasn't his best to do all that he did, just a tremendous athlete and always a gentleman. The guy always had nice things to say. He was always very cordial, very welcoming and engaging. Even when I first started, like, it's easy for people now to be like, hey, DC. But when I was a kid that came over from Strikeforce or just barely in Strikeforce when the UFC bought it, Shogun was one of the guys that made you feel like you were welcome.
Paulie, I know you were obviously happy to get this assignment and you shared some thoughtful words with Shogun after our fighter meeting.
Yeah, I remember buying Pride DVDs, and it was like a box set of them, and you opened it up and there was like 3 or 4, and he was all over these Pride DVDs, and I just remember watching these epic fights, and I just remember that, you know, I thought these Muay Thai guys that had this kickboxing, obviously shoot the box background, like I thought they were so freaking cool, and then to see the fights with Dan Henderson, to see all the battles he had with the 2 battles with Lyoto Machida, who I was a fan of. But I remember being so terrified because I was such a fan of Lyoto fighting Shogun. I was like, oh my God, you know, like he's going to get murdered. Shogun's so good. So, yeah.
Final walk for Shogun.
He's why I fell in love with MMA.
Wow.
I mean, same thing. When I was in college and I would watch the DVDs, and there was this show that was on late that would show like replays of fight. I can't remember the name of the show.
I know exactly what you're talking
The guy from Fox hosted it. I can't
Yes.
remember his name. Anyway, I would stay up late. Glazier. I would stay up late and watch that show, and I remember the soccer kicks. The first time I saw him soccer kick someone, I was like, I need to know what this sport is.
Yeah. All right. That's very cool. Well, it's going to be the final fight for Shogun Rua. We're all privileged to be here for it. All right. First weigh-in show of 2023. Thank you guys for having me here. We got some predictions, and we will call on the esteemed RJ Clifford again. We're going to start. We need your 2023 Fighter of the Year.
Alexander Volkanovski has bit off more than anyone else can possibly chew, right? He's going up in weight class, so no one's more poised than Volkanovski to potentially be Fighter of the Year.
Islam Makhachev, I believe, is going to be the Fighter of the Year because I believe that he's going to beat Volkanovski, and I believe that he'll fight at least one more time and he'll be dominant in both of those fights.
Laura?
I mean, Shavkat Rakhmonov is my answer to everything on this show, and
Scary man.
will continue to be.
Paul Felder, 2023 Fighter of the Year for you will be whom?
I think it will be Islam Makhachev. I think he's just coming into his own now. Now he's getting the spotlight. He's got the belt. He's getting these opportunities to go and face other champions down in Australia with Volkanovski, and I think he's going to win that fight. And I think he'll fight again, and he'll win that fight. And I think he's just going to start rattling through contenders at 55.
And I'm going to say Marlon Chito Vera, perhaps a little bit predictive. I'm not saying he's going to get by Corey Sandhagen necessarily, but I feel like Chito should already be fighting for the title with respect to Henry Cejudo and everybody else. So I think Marlon Chito Vera, if he gets that title shot, has a good chance to be the 2023 Fighter of the Year. All right, one fight that unequivocally, irrefutably has to happen in 2023.
I really want to see John Jones versus Stipe. And I wanted to see John Jones versus Francis Ngannou, but that did not age well. That was what I originally had said. But I like the fight with Stipe, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, possibly the greatest. I love that fight.
Yeah. So when DC and I were in Las Vegas at the end of 2020, filming our preview for 2021, they asked the same question, and I said, Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington was my dream fight for 2021. It was my dream fight for 2022. Same matchup for me in 2023. I'm fascinated to see how Chimaev would handle that particular stylistic challenge. Not saying it's going to happen, but that's the dream matchup for me.
My turn?
Sure.
Khamzat versus Shavkat. Could you imagine those two crazy? Oh.
Pronouncing that fight.
Shavkat versus Khamzat. That's the one that I want to see.
Yeah.
Two young guys on the complete up and up fighting each other. Tremendous.
And sorry,
and Shavkat will not be afraid of Khamzat in any manner.
Sorry, I butchered the order, fellas. Paulie, what do you have? Dream fight for you in 2023?
No, it doesn't matter. I went and cheated, and I did too, because I just, since I did put Charles Oliveira on my list earlier and got in a lot of trouble from DC. And you know what? In hindsight, DC, I think maybe you were right.
You know, the measure of a man is when he can admit he was wrong.
And maybe it's because I beat him. Anyway. I think Israel and Alex Pereira, it has to happen again. And I also would love to see Beneil Dariush take on Charles Oliveira.
Man, I missed that one. I forgot about that.
I think that would be a great matchup.
That's a great
it's huge for Beneil. He deserves these big fights against a former champion and something like that. The guy's just been doing everything he's been asked to get to the belt. And he's my dark horse, too. If there's somebody that could even give Islam a run, it's a guy that can grapple and wrestle and has got the durability of. I'm not saying he's going to win, but that's a fight I would love to see, and I think he's got to get through Charles to get that fight.
I like to use my powers for good, so I'm gonna right a wrong here. Valentina Shevchenko, Talia Santos 2. I thought Santos got a little robbed there, and that's a division that needed some contenders, and so let's run back the girl that I think a lot of people thought beat her.
All right, I believe the former UFC light heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira is standing by, so we are not going to make a good man wait. Now joining us, one of the classiest men in the UFC, and of course one of the best fighters in the world still at 43 years of age. He is the former UFC light heavyweight king, Glover Teixeira. Glover, how are you this morning, my brother?
Doing good, man. Yeah, much better now. The weight cut was easy. Was great, man. Feeling great.
All right, so I know we are not in Sobralia, we are not in Minas Gerais, but I know how important it was for you to have a fight of this magnitude here in Rio. I know you've answered this question a lot, but for our audience, what has it been like to feel all of that adoration from your countrymen and women here in Brazil?
Feeling great, you know, feeling the vibe, I'm feeling the energy. I'm ready to go. I did the job. Everything ready, man. Everything good. The weight cut, like I say, weight cut was smooth. The camp was smooth. Now, like you say, one more sleep. Let's go. Let's go get it.
So your opponent, Jamal Hill, you know, some suggest he has that death touch in terms of the knockout power. When he touches guys, more often than not, they go to sleep. How mindful are you of the opening minutes of this fight to make sure your guard is tight and you're, you know, aware and focused because of that early power from Jamal?
You know, so is Jan, so is Jiri, those guys that I fought, you know. Those guys, you see, before they fight me, they touching people go down. It's like now it's just roll with the punches, move my head, close the distance, and do my game.
You know, Glover, you were going to fight against Ankalaev in December. They asked you to fight him. You said no. When you said no, did you think that it was going to be a long time before a fight for the championship? And how quickly did you reset whenever they called you and told you it was going to be Jamal Hill?
You know, I didn't care because reality is like I got to prepare myself right for for any opponent right now. When they say fight Ankalaev, I say, you know, I need 6 weeks minimum, you know, to train for a guy like that. For, you know, southpaw, change the range, the distance. You know, you give me him in Brazil. I asked for him to fight him over here, and they didn't want to give that fight. They want the fight in Vegas. Then I say I fight Jan in Vegas because I've been training with Alex Pereira, Wellington Turma. They both like similar to Jan. Anyway, didn't care much about it. Just wait and see, man. See what's you know, what's the universe bring it to you. And here we are. I'm happy about it, and let's go get this belt.
Stylistically, are you happy about the matchup? And how much danger is there in you getting takedowns early on Jamal Hill? Because as we have seen time and time again, when you get rolling, guys can't stay with you. But the danger's early in the fight. But how confident are you in this style matchup against a guy like Jamal Hill?
Confidence, you know. I train with the best. You know, I'm confident on my skills. You know, just go over there, like I say, be cautious about it. But you know, I don't worry about it too much. What the guys is going to do. I'm always say that I'm worrying about like how I'm gonna approach him, how I'm gonna get him, how I'm gonna get him down. It's like, of course, Jamal Hill. He's very powerful man, very fast, but it's my job to avoid that, close that distance, be alert, and do my game, DC.
Glover, last time I saw you, you were accepting the award for Fight of the Year against Yuri Prochazka. And I wonder, in that fight, are there things that you take away from that particular matchup that apply to this fight as well? You know, another young guy, another striker. Are there things you've taken from that fight that you'll be looking to implement on Saturday?
Yeah, you know, first I'm gonna say not bad for 42, right?
That's right.
Going over there, get the best fight of the year. But yeah, I learned a lot from that fight. You know, pace myself a little bit more on the ground and. More control. I think I was too excited, going too fast for the finish. You know, I wanted to finish, and I leave too much space on even in mount position. I see how easy he was escaping from those positions, the dominating position, and now I adjust the game a little bit with Jamal. If I get to that position, it's going to be much harder for him to get out of there.
Glover, how much has Alex Pereira winning the belts motivated you to get back to that spot and bring yet another belt back to Connecticut?
Big time, you know. Alex, I'm super happy for him. He worked hard, you know, and that's another thing that we've been doing really good. It's like, when somebody win the belt, like anyone Jim and DC probably he'll know that well when him and Cain Velasquez and Luke Rockroad who's all winning the belt, Khabib, and bring that energy that you're doing the right thing. Bring that energy, we are doing the right thing, and we train with the best, and bring me a lot of confidence.
The most decorated finisher in UFC light heavyweight history, trying to become a two-time champion Saturday night. Glover Teixeira, all class as usual, brother. Enjoy your day. We will see you in about 24 hours here over at the arena, my man.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Glover Teixeira.
The man.
Had to go, Paulie, so I apologize for that. But incredible opportunity for
to ask
both
what his
gentlemen.
advice would be to the next generation of fighters, being a man that's fighting into his 40s.
Yeah. What would your advice be?
Yeah.
Paul's drunk.
Don't.
Yeah, Paul's a little buzzed.
I'm buzzed
Paul's a
too.
little
Bar
buzzed.
so much.
For once, it's not me.
Run more.
Takes a little more than a Serpa and a caipirinha for Felder to catch a buzz. I want to get some final thoughts before we get on out of here. So we will start with you. You don't want to give me final thoughts?
No, I said I want no shots. So I don't want shots.
Yeah, no. We got work to do later today. Final thoughts on the eve of UFC 283.
Just big. It feels big. Brazil's excited. The people are excited. The fans are excited. The fighters are excited. You can just feel the history of fighting here in this area. And the reality is, it feels good that we are back in a time where Brazilians are champions. Alex, Amanda, Davison, and I hope I'm not missing anybody, but the Brazilians are champions. The Brazilians are fighting at the top of the sport. And it just kind of feels right that we're in Rio at this time of fighting.
Paul, sometimes I feel like American athletes get a bad rap for sort of not being unified, but I have to marvel at just the unification of these Brazilian athletes. I was told that Davison was going through his final workout on Thursday. Charles Oliveira, Alex Pereira, the Brazilian champions, all coming to help him. Not even his teammates necessarily.
Yeah.
Pretty special feel here in Brazil.
Yeah, you can feel that unity when you're over here in Brazil with these fighters that just support each other. They have each other's back, especially coming back here to Rio. Jose Aldo being a part of that piece that Ricci had put together. It was fantastic. And you can just tell that they've been very hungry for us to come back, and here we are. And it's been incredible so far, I must say.
It's just good to be back. I mean, it's good from the UFC perspective. It's nice to have that trip on your schedule because it was such a regular thing for us to come down here and have these fights. And there's some of the most memorable crowd moments that I can think of. I mean, you've got a phenomenal crowd in the UK, but Brazil, oh my goodness,
But
do they
even
stand
the
up for
seats,
their people?
Right?
It
the
rumbles.
seats are just sitting on concrete.
Yeah.
It's like, this is exactly what you expect at the big arena in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, and when we were calling fights here back in 2013, there weren't even seats. They were just bleachers. And Lyoto Machida's walking to the octagon at 3:40 in the morning, and these people...
Oh, we're going to be up late. We're going to be up late.
All right, well, thank you all for being with us for the UFC 283 official weigh-in show. It all goes down Saturday night, live from Rio de Janeiro. Don't forget, prelims can be seen on ABC and ESPN, as well as ESPN Plus, and then, of course, the main card in that regular window, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. It is a midnight local time start for UFC 283. Live on pay-per-view. Thank you to our producers, Kerry Hubert and Zach Candido. With that, for Laura Sanko, the Iron Lung Paul Felder, and Daniel Cormier. John Anik saying so long. Shout out to RJ Clifford as well from Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, yeah.
See you all tomorrow night. One more sleep. UFC 283 back.